Gaming news this week has been a bit all over the place. We've covered a whole host of things. Most notably, at the very end of the week on Thursday, Battlefield appears to be back. The Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal happened, and the consensus is very strong. They didn't just hype everybody up with a trailer. They allowed countless streamers to showcase gameplay for large periods of time, doing beta drops on Twitch and allowing folks to basically gear up and get ready for the Battlefield 6 beta, which will be taking place initially, the first one 1 week from now, followed by more open betas after that. Now, this could be offering a clear alternative to Call of Duty. We'll talk about that during today's show. Look for the timestamp below if you want my thoughts on everything that I saw. Second, Mafia: The Old Country had fans worried after the PC requirements seemed pretty demanding. Many asking the question, is this game going to hit 60 FPS on console? Well, the game's official Twitter account has spoken to the matter, and I think it speaks directly to something that I have been saying for a very long time about 60 FPS. We'll talk about that. Third, a reliable insider has added to a story that we already covered this week, and that's that more Sony games are allegedly coming to Xbox, but this insider does not have any specifics. Now, earlier this week, we talked about the potential for more games to make the jump, whether they were live service, older games, PS4 games, maybe games that have already been ported to PC. There's also some dialogue from Shuhei Yoshida that many might be forgetting that I do think adds some insight into what PlayStation might be doing, given that just 30 days ago, sometime in June, they spoke to the strategy question and said they were not changing. So how does that square with putting games on Xbox? We'll discuss that today, and probably that'll eat up most of the show if my instincts are correct about these sorts of things. But I will be going through anything that you guys pretty much bring up from the week as well. Something that we like to do here is variety gaming coverage. Maybe you subscribe to this channel this week for one of the particular things that we did. We did a reaction to some brand new Phantom Blade Zero gameplay. We watched a Nintendo Direct event. We watched a Battlefield event. We talked about PlayStation. We even talked about Destiny 2. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing going forward, and what we've been doing for 4 or 5 years is covering as much of the gaming news as we can on the channel. And I was going to be taking a trip going out of town next week. I am now not doing that. We are still going to honor the incentives this week of doing extra content. You're very close to unlocking a Saturday stream, so keep in mind, if you have a membership to this channel, there's extra content that you might not be watching Friday nights with my wife, sometimes these Saturday community game streams, and then we do a segment called The Green Room, which is a behind-the-scenes thing. You're not getting access to that. A lot of you don't watch that content because you're either on a gifted membership, you need to upgrade to Member Plus, or maybe you're just not clicking on it or seeing it. We have roughly 2,000 to 3,000 members every month that are on gifted, and a lot of you miss out on that extra content. So if you're able to be there, don't miss out on those perks that you're getting. You can also get into our Discord. A lot of you are not in the Discord, which I'm not scolding you. You don't have to, but those perks are there and available for you. A lot of people join the Discord and they're like, hey, there's people in here I can play games with and chat with when the streams are not happening. So make sure you're using those benefits every month, and we're already getting into it. So make sure if you guys are watching on YouTube, you're smashing that like button. Go through that ritual. Very short show open. I will use timestamps for the written segments and things that I've gathered. I've researched, the insider thing with Xbox, games going to Xbox. I've looked into the Mafia: The Old Country thing, and then I've got my thoughts on Battlefield 6. So those will be below as timestamps if you're watching this later. If you're in the live environment right now, this is just kind of how we're re-embodying the morning coffee. We're giving you that sort of opening show vibe where we don't really get down to business just yet. But Han shot first, and so did you. DK Baker, one of the long-standing single-gifted kings around here, but he's not the only one. Right on his heels is Joker Quinn, starting off the day right. Purple, you guys got soundly beat yesterday. We'll see how you fare today. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Yes, there's also a town hall in the Discord almost every single Friday. Now, there probably won't be one next week because Creature's also going out of town. He kind of planned his trip around my trip that was going to happen, and now mine's not happening. But Town Hall is something that takes place in the Discord for members. It's your opportunity to provide feedback on the channel, the content, what we're doing, what we could be doing, what we could be doing better. So make your voice heard. Again, if you're getting a gifted member and you're not cashing on these benefits, you're really missing out. And Stone Spire's going to want to set up that first 10 bomb of the day. He bumps the line to 940. Remember, every 50, I gift 5, and we're 10 away already, and that can be stolen very easily by Twitch. You guys have consistently done that. You've kind of stolen the milestones. Moore's Law has internal documents. Yeah, I was going to maybe kick that to Monday, Wired Rope. I didn't have time to look at it all, and I kind of thought the front burner topics were Battlefield, Mafia, and then what Nate the Hate said about more games going to Xbox. So I did see some of the stuff from Moore's Law hitting about PlayStation 6 and the handheld, but I didn't have time to research it because obviously that was this morning when I was making thumbnails for today's show. I already had today written up. And thank you everybody for such a killer week. We definitely have seen some really good results from those of you that take place with the polls. You comment, you vote. A lot of you guys are also watching the shorts and leaving comments. Man, thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciate the continued support of the channel. Hope all goes with your sister. It's my sister-in-law, and thank you very much. Yes, we're hopeful that the surgery goes well, and it should bring her some relief. Stuff with your back is always terrible, so that we're hoping it goes well. Nate Hate's been on the money, so I believe him. He doesn't have specifics, so as far as I can tell, he's speaking to what people already assumed was going on, which was that PlayStation wasn't just going to make it Helldivers 2. It could be Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls. It could be previously games that were ported to PC. I mean, there's a lot of things it could be, given that his sources are Xbox sources. That's why he doesn't have specifics, because my assumption would be they don't have much right now. There's just initial conversations about what's a good fit, timeline, when it could land. Like this position that started this whole firestorm is basically an account management position. So you would, that's why you want somebody in that place to basically be managing the accounts. Like if they're going to be putting games on Nintendo, like I've speculated we'll probably see Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls on Nintendo as well. Well, you need somebody to negotiate that and get the placement and the timing. If you're going to do any promotional anything, like when you open up the Nintendo eStore, if a game is featured and at the top, that's likely something that's negotiated and maybe even paid for, because they know there's millions of people opening up that e-store. So how you know it's Xbox sources? That's typically what he's always said, is that he has sources at Xbox. That's something that he has indicated, which is why in the recent weeks he got, that one guy told him, he's like, oh, your stuff about Xbox is always wrong. That's actually not true. His stuff about Xbox has been very consistent. So a $5 super chat from Social Destruct says, as an old Battlefield 3 and 4 player, I loved the Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal. The presentation, everything about it was just hit right. Fantastic job. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And Silver Subaru with 54 months and a VIP says 4.5 years. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And the next milestone is still up for grabs. Only 9 away. Thank you. Oops, so much. That should be a 4. There we go, 4-0. And thank you again for that super chat. I agree with you, Social Destruct. I really, really like the Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal. As you guys are piling in, we're discussing the Battlefield reveal, the news about PlayStation games going to Xbox, as well as Mafia: The Old Country caused quite a stir with their PC specs. They have spoken specifically to console performance, so make sure as you guys are coming in, you're hitting the like button and getting that conversation going. Is anyone interested in the new PlayStation Fight controller? I mean, I can't speak to what the fighting game community will or won't do. I would guess with Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls and the reception there, I would think that controller will probably do very well. That's not my area. Like those are not my games. Those are not my people. Because I was terrible at fighting games like growing up, and so I gravitated towards shooters. Yeah, it's a Sony branded fight stick. Yes. Battlefield 4, played the crap out of that, me and my friends. Yeah, that's what I was saying yesterday, Sawyer, is that the Battlefield 6 reveal, it really gave me, like, It really, really did. It gave me the Battlefield 4 vibes. I remember playing Battlefield 4 with my friends all of the time. There was that one map with like the building out in the middle that you could do something to it and it would like fall down. So people much prefer custom fight sticks. So Fuzzy saying he doubts it. You doubt that the fighting game community is going to like it. They usually do good for hardware, whatever it is. I mean, their accessories have been very consistent and very, I think, well-researched. Like, everybody thought Portal was stupid in DOA and ended up doing very well. So I would imagine if PlayStation and Sony are going to back a new piece of, hardware, that they would say, yeah, there's research that justifies this thing's existence. I mean, Siege of Shanghai, was that the map? That was the one where couldn't you type? I'm sorry, not type. Couldn't you go to the top of the buildings, like in an elevator? You know what I mean? Delta Force out soon on console. Why subscribe to type ripoff? I'm not sure what you're saying, Haggis King. That one building, you could like take the elevators all the way to the top, could you not? It was like a very, very large building. It was always bedlam up there, like helicopters crashing into the side and the top and people jumping off. It was awesome. A special edition of the fight stick just for Tokon would probably do well. Yeah, you put some Marvel artwork on there, put some Marvel characters on there. Yeah, it could do well. First look at Tokon hands-on gameplay is today. Starting off with hands-on impressions at EVO, new gameplay footage, 9 a.m. Pacific. So that's at noon today. Yeah, you could go to the roof, and it was always insane. Sorry. I thought I had to pay to type. No. We do subscriber only, and subscribing on YouTube is free. I'm questioning doing that, if you want my honest opinion. We ran subscriber only yesterday disabled, so like anybody could talk. I don't like people needing to subscribe to say something and then like a day later they unsubscribe because they're not interested in the content. Maybe they were just interested in the discussion. I'm debating about that because when we've done live events before, we'll get like 50 or 60, sometimes over 100 new subscribers just because they want to talk in the chat, and then they unsubscribe a couple of days later. So that's why yesterday I was like, you don't need to subscribe to talk. Now, if you want to support me directly with a membership, that's different. Membership actually costs money, but that does get you into extra content. And Mike on the mic is going to gift a member to somebody and give them an opportunity to sample the extra content for a month. Thank you, Mike on the mic. Everyone crapped on Portal and it sold really well. Getting the black one this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any reason to buy it. I wouldn't even use it. My gut just says they researched it. It's well researched. There's market demand for it, I would imagine. Chat seemed pretty chill yesterday. And Kardak Ren steals it for Team Purple. He drops a 10 bomb to kick off the day, putting Twitch in the lead and securing the first 5 that I owe you guys. We are now at 952. Keep in mind, this is a huge stretch goal because I was going to go out of town. I'm still going to honor this. There will be a Saturday stream. I'm probably going to start it earlier around the time I'm having dinner and stream longer and just chill with you guys, right? We'll be eating, we'll be drinking, we'll be laughing, we'll be playing some Mario Kart and other things. So guys, make sure so many of you don't enjoy those segments because I think it's a time zone thing or it's a time of day thing. That's why I'm open to sometimes trying to do more and do it a little bit earlier on Saturday. So be here tomorrow for that. You're almost assuredly going to hit it. You're 48 away. What? A stream tomorrow. You don't come in here shocked face. You were told. Don't be playing these games, lady. Do it, lady. Yeah. He stretches out streams just to give YouTube an advantage. I do not. I'm in a pickle. Ghost 2 already a day 1, comes out on October the 2nd. Battlefield comes out on October the 10th. What do I do? Do it, lady. You got to figure it out. I mean, this is what I would do, Collide. I'm going to be honest with you. I would get Ghost and just play the snot out of it for 2 weeks You don't need Battlefield Day 1, brother. You know the servers are going to be insane. You know there's going to be problems. Just sit and bask in the greatness of a single-player game where none of that affects your time, none of that affects your schedule. And then a week later be like, all right, they've got the kinks worked out. They've got some of the patches and stuff, whatever. Now I'm going to dive into Battlefield. You know what I mean? And if you're like me, you'll want to do the Battlefield campaign first anyway. So that's what I would do. I mean, if you're equally interested in both Ghost and Battlefield, that would be my personal strategy if I was you. I am obviously way more interested in Ghost. I will play Battlefield 6 campaign day 1 to show it off to you guys. But, dude, I will be knee-deep in Yote by that time. I won't be playing anything else. Copy that. I mean, we all know the servers are going to be nuts. I mean, with the beta and beyond. Crazy talk, Battlefield Day 1 will be a blast. Server queues and crashes are the first bosses. This is true. This is true. They have the worst iframes. Guys, do me a favor and smash the heck out of the like button. Usually, I don't pause the annoying things that we all don't like. I wait a while. I paused them immediately today just as an experiment. So let's get the like count up. That can definitely counteract that. After what you've seen so far, says King Salty, DICE is back. He says, finally back. 2042 was a mistake, and they're going back to their roots. Here's the thing I think they did as well to combat any notion that, like, well, they're just hyping people up. They let a bunch of streamers just sit and play for a long, long time. I went and watched Timmy Tenders for another hour to get beta access, which is really interesting. Can somebody look into this, please? If I stream your event for multiple hours, why would I not get one of the drops? Like, what's that? Like, huh? Like, Twitch, what are you doing? What are you doing? I take the time to stream the event with drops on so people can get access to the beta, but I don't get credit? That's idiotic. I was so worried. I was like, oh, wait, I'm not going to get access. I was like, I didn't realize I had to actually watch. So I quickly throw on old Timmy Tenders. And I was like, all right, hopefully I get access. Hopefully the event doesn't end as soon as I start watching. It went for like another couple hours after that. So I did get access. I went in, I put my code in or whatever. You got the drop after 13 minutes of Timmy? Well, were you watching me before that? It might have added it all up. I think I watched Timmy for about 45 minutes, but I had been watching other people as well, so maybe I got credit from that. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. It's like I streamed the event for like 2.5 hours, and it's like I don't get a drop for that? Battlefield 6 beta is going to look like passport control at JFK on rush hour. Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, yeah. Then the first beta might not be as bad because there'll be at least a filtering process. It won't just be wide open. Thank you so much, the Super Hemi. Good morning, Battlefield 6. Day 1, he says, after 10 months. And then Jason West with 27 months says, Lono, NorCal Garbage Man here, the OG Mr. VIP 600 no matter what. Great show this week. Saturday stream inbound. Let's go. What he's referring to, guys, is we need 600 people at Member Plus and above, so please consider upgrading your membership. If you're at a gifted tier, whether you're paying the $5 or somebody else paid it for you, please consider upgrading. That is something that we have been pushing for a very, very long time on YouTube. It is an enormous aspect of what we do here. Battlefield 6 is so good. I tried the playtest in Battlefield Lab, and it feels like bad company. I appreciate the confidence of streaming the game for hours to show everything off. I'll tell you what they did. They also really showed that there is something for everyone. And they didn't even show the campaign, and they didn't even show their battle royale. But just think about this with me. They show classic Battlefield multiplayer gameplay, right? No, Ghost is not released on the same day. Ghost is on October the 2nd, and Battlefield is 8 days later on October the 10th. So it will be a bit of a conundrum for fans of both. I'm saying, why bother? Just play Ghost. You know the servers are going to be absolute chaos opening weekend, right? So, in any case, they showcased classic Battlefield multiplayer. Like, just everything's exploding. There's vehicles. It's conquest, right? People are taking over the positions. And then they showed Team Deathmatch. And I was like, I would have no interest in team deathmatch. I mean, it looked and played like a completely different game at that point. It was basically just like what you would expect, right? Just kind of typical shooting, corner watching, choke point watching, blah, blah, blah. Loch Ness comes in with 41, says, Battlefield 6, hype, keep the content coming. I'm glad you guys are excited about Battlefield. Last week after the reveal, we tried to cover it, and like no one was interested. And Creature was like, well, they didn't show anything. Well, they certainly showed something this time. So currently the battle between the platforms is going to Twitch's 10-6, and I do owe you guys 5 members over here. Wait, have I already done that, or did I not? I can't remember. No, I did not. Here, let me pay up on the 5 that I owe you guys. You guys secured the first one. To be fair, servers don't do anything to the campaign. Are you sure about that? Sometimes you can't even get into the dadgum game. I hope you're right, Lone Wolf. I hope you're right. I hope a lot of people can just like lick their wounds by playing the campaign, but sometimes you can't even get into the dadgum game when the servers are bad because you're dealing with the authentication servers sometimes to like get you into the game. So hopefully that's not the case, right? The point is play Yote first, Lone Wolf. Shut the frick up. That's the point. Is Yote's better. Metal Matt with 6 months of memberships. Come on, Destroyable Pyramids Cairo. Thank you so much. Let me add you to the total. We are now at 755. Now, this is one of the few times I will honor the ways of old, but I only honor it only one condition, okay? We can't swim under these conditions, all right? We can't swim. Anyway, so under these conditions, I will honor the ways of old only for a 20 bomb. So I was doing 5 every 25, but it was ridiculous. I couldn't keep doing it, so now we do 5 every 50. But whenever there's a chance for a member bomb to sink it perfectly, that'll get us to 975. I will honor it. The minute this is no longer possible, I don't honor it, okay? I only do it on those rare occasions. Knowing there are some games coming to Xbox, kind of getting the It's Just 4 Games vibes from the job listing now. Here's why I'm not getting the Just 4 Games vibes. This is why I'm not getting those vibes. I've seen a lot of people say that, Joker Quinn. The Just 4 Games vibes happened after numerous clear communication from Microsoft that they were changing. So Just 4 Games happened like 5 months after Famitsu interviewed Phil Spencer, where he referred to PlayStation as part of the Xbox community. And he was questioned about thinking about things. Well, you're thinking about things differently now, aren't you? Also, a month later, or roughly within the same month, I think, the CFO tells Wells Fargo Summit, you're going to see a change of strategy. We're going to be putting games on platforms that were formerly considered competitors, okay? These are pretty strong things. And Pac-Man says, here's to saving Lono some money, my man. He tips it over to 956. The gauntlet for the 20 bomb is now gone. Thank you so much, Pac-Man on a bike. All right, so if somebody drops a 20 bomb now, I am freed. I'm freed from the commitment. So then Satya Nadella in January says, well, now we can do what we've always wanted to do, which is publish games on all of the platforms, okay? So that's Phil Spencer, that's the CFO, that's Satya Nadella himself, all signaling a change. So when Phil Spencer goes Just 4 Games, it's some public-facing BS to calm everybody down. That has not happened with PlayStation. PlayStation has consistently told shareholders and earnings calls, and even that fireside thing, we're not changing strategy. This is the strategy. Now, track with me here. I want you to imagine that Helldivers as a live service game, in their mind, fits within the strategy. They're not playing double speak. They're like, no, we always said multi-platform. That's multi-platform. That's a platform that can help grow that game. I think they're going to take an exact same mentality with Marvel Tokyo Fighting Souls. I do. I think Marvel Tokyo Fighting Souls are going to do the same thing. And 2 singles come in from Lone Wolf and Sorcerer. Thank you, boys, so much. I guess it's a 957. You guys are the absolute best. And you guys tied it. It's 10-10, but Cool Spoon's going to make it 10-11 over here on Purple, renewing for 4 months. Welcome back, Cool Spoon. All right, now track with me. If they think that Marvel Tokyo Fighting Souls and Helldivers are playing according to those rules of like, listen, we're going to put these in as many places as possible. They're live service games. That's why I think like Marvel Tokyo Fighting Souls is almost assuredly going to land on the Switch too. huge platform, enormous platform, off to an amazing start. After the partner direct yesterday, why would you not try to get on that device? You can tell everybody's trying to get on that dadgum device. Another single comes in from Lone Wolf, thank you. To tie it, it's 11-11. These guys are being ornery today. They're being ornery. They don't want Twitch to even have even the slightest of leads. Okay. So, now I want you to think about something else. Shuhei Yoshida started doing rounds of interviews recently, and he said porting an already made game to another platform is like what? Do you remember what he said? He said it's like printing money. Now, if you've already got a porting company that has already ported some of your games to PC, and you have a platform that just told the world that their future is Windows gaming devices. That's what they told everybody. This is where Xbox is going. They want the future to be Windows being the largest gaming platform. Okay? So apply the logic and apply the reasoning. Is the strategy changing? I don't think so. I think live service games are going to hit as many platforms as they see fit because that can help. Haseo rounds us out to 960. Thank you so much, Haseo. I think they're going to see as many platforms as they see fit for live service. And I also think they are open to taking games that have already been ported and porting them over. I also think, in their mind, in the future, if the line becomes blurred and there's Windows gaming devices that have the Steam storefront, the Epic storefront, and the Xbox storefront, the application, they see no reason to not be in all those storefronts. As they've said, maximizing profitability on a game, putting in more platforms makes good sense. Many people are saying, oh, they've been signaling that they're going to do this. Right, but they've been signaling they're going to do it in a way where they port later. I do not see what Wired Rope is saying is where I'm going with this. If they start doing day and date, I become concerned, not because of my precious console, but because of the quality of the games. I haven't changed. I haven't wavered. I have not adjusted my position an iota on this. That is what I have always cared about. I have said since the beginning of this conversation, you get better game quality. There was a video, I think it was Wooly that put out the video that kind of opened my eyes to this. He was like, you guys on Xbox don't get games made for Xbox, and you haven't for a very long time. They've been making games for both PC and Xbox for years now. You never get bespoke development. And I was like, wow, that's the dividing line, isn't it? That's the dividing line between the platforms. Why would quality change? It's the same developers. Because in my estimation, when you build games for the hardware first, and there's a relationship between the developers and the hardware as well as the innovation, you get better games. I have yet to play multi-plat games at a consistent cadence. I have yet to play multi-plat games that look like Death Stranding 2, or Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores, or Spider-Man 2, or God of War Ragnarok, or Returnal, or Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I haven't. There are games that are amazing. There are games that get a ton of praise. AC Shadows is the first game I've played that made me say, oh wow, third-party game, nailed it. Absolutely nailed the graphics, the fidelity, the lighting, the innovation. Well, not the innovation. It was a lot of the same stuff as far as the franchise is concerned. But I think AC Shadows is one of the best-looking games this gen. BS. What cadence of multi-plat games the last 5 years you think hold a candle to all the games I just listed with respect to like innovation within the graphics, the lighting, the performance, the level of quality that we get? I'm telling you, I don't see that from third party. It's a rarity when it comes from third party. It's a rarity when it's some multi-plat game. If it's a game that hits like Xbox, PC, and PlayStation all at the same time, it's a rare thing for those games to be at the quality of a PlayStation Studios game. Cyberpunk, after patches, I mean, how many years did that take? The Witcher, nope. Witcher launched and it was in a bad state. It took a long time for them to get it into a better state and win back goodwill from the public. You're literally proving my point with Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3. I mean, two of the most notorious games for being like, man, if you guys would have taken some more time, holy crap. You're literally proving my point. The cadence from multi-plat games is, I've never seen this level of cadence from multi-plat, ever. Never. You'll get one or two games a year where like, holy crap, what an amazing game, what amazing quality. And then the rest of them, they've got bugs, they've got glitches, they've got problems, they need patches and patches and patches. Play more games? You're really struggling to list the games that compete. You haven't listed any. If it's so easily claimed that I should just be playing more games, how many games in the last 5 years do you feel like have come out of that quality? As I said, it's a rare exception. Red Dead Redemption 2. There we go. So we've got one. How long has it been since that game came out? Dead Space Remake. If you put Dead Space Remake at the level of like quality and excellence of all the games I listed from PlayStation Studios, I just don't think we're going to see eye to eye on the matter, because I don't think the Dead Space Remake is anywhere close to those games. Rise of the Ronin. You can't be serious. Rise of the Ronin, a game with, again, notorious performance issues in the open world with respect to frame rate and a visual fidelity nowhere close to the games I listed. Again, you're having an awfully hard time listing a bunch of multi-plat games that come out at that quality. Gears 5, how long ago was that? You're proving my point. The cadence isn't there. Multi-plat games, more often than not, are the ones that ship with all these problems. What's interesting to me is there's a constant narrative in gaming right now that AAA is dead, AAA is cooked. All AAA ever does is spit out games that aren't ready at launch and are low quality and buggy and glitchy and need day one patches. And then when I say what I just said about PlayStation Studios games, you're like, well, that's BS. There's tons of games at that quality. Really? Where are they? Where are all the multi-plat games that ship at the quality of the games I listed? Because I don't see them. Where? Doom? I'll give you Doom. Doom the Dark Ages was quite good. It's id Software. That's like citing Red Dead Redemption, though. You're going to like a studio that's known for that. Like, again, you're proving the point. It's like, okay, you had one game at that quality, but then you also had Avowed. Expedition 33? I played through Expedition 33. It's nowhere near the excellence that you get from a PlayStation Studios game. There's performance issues. There's oddity in the cutscenes. The lip syncs all over the place. Not even close. The size and scope of that game is also not even like it's a matchbook next to a library compared to the density and the size of the games that I listed. Expedition 33 is not. I would say it feels like it's at AAA quality, but then when you really play it with a scrutinous eye, no, it's not. It's got all kinds of issues. Performance issues? Yes. Yes, there are performance issues in that game. There's all sorts of weird things that happen. Digital Foundry did a breakdown on it in the cutscenes and stuff. It's an excellent game. It's my favorite game this year. It's not anywhere close to what we get from a PlayStation Studios game. It's not. It winning Game of the Year is not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the polish. I'm talking about the look. I'm talking about the feel. Like what they do with the games for PlayStation is, I think, because they build for PlayStation first. As Eugene said a little while ago, they get the dev kits first. They build for PlayStation. That's all they have to worry about. Pork Pie says it's time to wake up YouTube, and he drops a 50 bomb out of nowhere. And he says, I'll tell you what, that goal is as good as done. And there it is, with the next milestone now being all about the music. I know some of you guys don't think the same way about it, but there's a mountain of it, and we'll be dropping the first album in the channel very, very soon. And now we're looking at we're running out of room here. Thank you so much, Pork Pie. He's talking production quality. Yeah, I'm talking production quality. The PlayStation studios that make games are able to do things with their games. Okay, let's go a complete different route here. Let's just go a whole other route. And what's really enjoyable about this route is people that are critical of PlayStation, they already did my work for me. Okay, are you ready? In the wake of the Ghost of Yotei State of Play, I had to listen to people consistently say that it didn't look that much better than Ghost of Tsushima. Gee, I wonder why that is. Could it be perhaps because Tsushima is one of the best looking PlayStation 4 games probably ever made, and because that game is way ahead of its time? It was praised as a PC port by a guy. Asmongold was reacting to a video, and this guy was like, look how great this game looks, right? It's a PS4 game, okay? One of the reasons it's difficult to distinguish how much better Yote looks than Tsushima, do you want to know why? Because a studio built Tsushima just for the PlayStation. They were able to go much further than games at that time. There's a reason Microsoft internally looked at The Last of Us Part 2 and said, we're nowhere near what Naughty Dog did in this game. We're not even close. The dynamic emergent combat within The Last of Us Part 2, the look, the feel, the vibe, the way the entire game flows and plays on a PS4 is ridiculous. Do you want to know why they were able to do that? They were building just for PlayStation. The evidence is it's so crystal clear that when you build for this system first, you get a better game very consistently. It's not a guarantee, obviously. A studio can suck and be terrible or operate under crunch. But generally speaking, the pattern has been, to me, undeniable that when you build a game for one platform first, those devs can go way further than anybody expects at the time. That's why if you really boot up and you play Horizon Forbidden West, especially if you play it on a pro, that's why you have guys like John Linneman from Digital Foundry saying that Horizon Forbidden West on the pro, he felt like he was playing on a high-end PC. He's playing on a $700 console, and the reason he can say that is you have a developer that built their game just for this system, leveraging this technology in specific ways. You don't get that when you got a game going multiplat. It's going to be on this system, this system, this system, and this system. You're never, ever going to get that. You're never going to get that level of quality. You aren't. This is why my position on this has never changed. When Ghost of Tsushima went to PC and Returnal went to PC, what did I say? I can't wait for people to buy them. They're great games. It doesn't disrupt the relationship between the developer and the platform, because that's what gave me Tsushima. That's what gave me Returnal. A developer having that relationship with the hardware. Right now, Mark Cerny and AMD and Project Amethyst is literally working on this, investing in a future where the hardware that they are building is leveraging technology and things that will benefit development that in turn will be then leveraged by the PlayStation studios. So, if you start porting games that have already been ported over to an Xbox, or you're just open to the fact that that's fine, you can put our games in the Epic storefront, you can put our games in the Xbox storefront on Windows gaming devices, we don't care. As long as they don't disrupt that, it doesn't bother me at all. Shuhei Yoshida said porting your game to another platform is like printing money. Don't you think it's interesting that everybody's ignoring that? Everybody's talking about money, right? All of a sudden, everybody's experts on money, on profitability and revenue and profit margins and MAUs, right? All of a sudden, everybody's an expert. Why is everybody ignoring what Shuhei Yoshida said? You don't think that's a significant aspect of this conversation? Shuhei Yoshida says porting your game to other platforms after they've been fully developed is like printing money because the cost to do it is so low. It's just additive. It's just more money. It's just added profit. Time that would otherwise be spent on polishing is spent on multi-plat development. This is why you won't see me get critical, freak out, throw my hands up in the air, or like, get rid of my PlayStation. Until they start doing that, I see no problems here. I'm like, this is what I've celebrated this entire gen. I've celebrated, and I told people, you don't want to break up this relationship. People that are like, well, exclusives are bad, and they're anti-consumer, and there's a future where there are no exclusives. I'm like, you don't want to break up this relationship. It's a happy marriage. When you have developers who are specifically building for a set piece of hardware, the quality you get proves what we're talking about. Forza Horizon 5 is about to break the money printer? I'm not sure what you mean. How would that have any effect on what we're talking about? Doesn't Forza Horizon 5 prove what we're saying? That porting a game later is a great and easy way to make lots of money? I don't get how that would be a disruption at all. It's just another game that has now been ported to another platform later, proving literally what Shuhei Yoshida said is correct. It's literally evidence in support of what Yoshida said. They made the game. It's a fully developed game. It's a popular game. It looks very good. It's probably Xbox's best looking game this gen next to Indiana Jones. I also don't think people realize what those sales charts indicate. Those sales charts indicate that PlayStation has a very healthy ecosystem of people that, I don't know, buy games. Where do you think all that revenue's coming from? Like, where do you think all that money's coming from? Like, all of the bluster these last couple of years about game sales don't matter and, it's fine if you foster an ecosystem of non-purchase. Well, where's all that dialogue now that you're celebrating games selling and topping the charts? All of a sudden, topping the sales charts is really important. I mean, it wasn't important for the last 5 years, but now it's important. It seems a bit weird. Seems like a very convenient time to suddenly fixate on game sales instead of player counts. Agreed, Lona. The PlayStation Studio quality is the main reason why I own a PS5. I have far more consistently purchased multi-plat games and been disappointed with their quality than I have games built specific for PlayStation. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is probably the most recent example I can give. I went from playing Death Stranding 2 to Wu Chang, and it was jarring because of just how immaculate Death Stranding 2 is. It is immaculately designed. It is beautiful. Performance is very, very solid and consistent. It's one of the best looking games I've ever played in my entire life. Got hurt over that comment? No one got hurt over a comment. I asked questions. Are you unable to answer questions? You said it was not a dig. I'm on PC, Lono, and yes, it's important for racing games. So you don't explain your comment when asked about it, and you conclude that I got hurt over your comment? I asked you a question. What do you mean? How does Forza Horizon hurt the money printer? You literally cited a game as that was evidence of what I had said. Yes, porting a game to another platform later is like printing money. You didn't prove anything. Your comment doesn't make sense. In the way that you phrased it, it seemed as though you were insinuating it was going to cause a disruption of what PlayStation was doing when it's merely evidence that the strategy works. You can port a game later and make good money. So you didn't explain your comment. That I was asking for a qualification. I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? $5 super chat from Joker Quinn says, that makes me feel a lot better. As long as the quality is there, nothing else really matters. This is why in my coverage of this earlier this week, that's what I stressed. I stressed that unless you disrupt the development of the games, I don't give a crap about any of this. It doesn't make sense to why people care so much. I didn't say hurt it. I made a joke. G's over your head. Forza Horizon 5 is about to break the money printer. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. You're saying that the money printer, the printer itself is going to break because it was selling so well. I thought you were saying, I misunderstood what you said. I literally just got done saying, like, Shuhei Yoshida says it's like printing money. And you're like, yeah, it's going to break the money printer. And I'm like, how is it going to disrupt what PlayStation is doing? It's evidence of what PlayStation is doing. If you would have just qualified and said, oh, no, I'm saying the actual printer's going to break because Horizon's selling so well, like, it would have, what you said would have made sense. In the context of the discussion, it sounded like you pitted your comment against what Shuhei Yoshida had said. I was like, why would that matter? Like, I just misunderstood what you said. Nobody needs to chill or no one's upset. You're having a very hard time not projecting emotion onto people when they're struggling to understand what you're saying. Like, I know that must be very frustrating. Like, you type something once and don't want to explain it ever again. Like, I'm reading chat very quickly, and so I read your chat and I was like, why would that matter? You have to explain the joke and now it's dead. If you have to explain a joke, it might not be a very good joke. I mean, again, it was an easy thing to misconstrue. The Forza thing has died down. I think the people have overblown the success of Forza. What? It sold like 3 million copies in like a month, or like, was it 2 months? Remember when Final Fantasy 16 sold 3.2 million copies in a weekend was a failure? 3 million in 2 months is not. No, Corey. One bad point does not nullify a good point. So, all of the absolute idiots who said that Final Fantasy had flopped at 3 million, ignore them. They're stupid. Why would you care what they say? They're buffoons. They probably are the same people that don't understand the difference between revenue and profit. All those idiots that said that has nothing to do with the fact that Forza Horizon did incredibly well. They all made really dumb points. It's kind of on brand for a lot of them. Their points about Final Fantasy not selling well at 3 million copies has nothing to do with Forza. Forza did incredibly well, as it should. It's a premier product that dropped on the largest console platform to an audience that likes games like that. It should have done well. Good golly, if it didn't do well, we'd be concerned. We'd be like, what happened? Like all you people on PC that didn't buy Returnal. I know where you live. I actually don't know where you live. I don't. But you should have bought Returnal. Anyway, Forza doing well on PlayStation is not really a surprise. It should have done well. It's a premier product on a platform that likes games like that. I bought it on PC. If you guys bought Returnal on PC, then I accept your apology. This guy says the same community that hyped up Soros let Returnal flop. Does someone need to educate him on the time when Returnal launched and the fact that it's not a flop? Like, does he remember how many PlayStation 5s were in circulation at the time that Returnal was sold, and that it actually did incredibly well in the perspective of like attach rate at the time for a brand new title? Are you feeling okay? Like, what? Returnal didn't flop. And also, you have to look at it historically within how many PlayStations were in circulation at that point in time. Forza Horizon's a racing game. To me, is like GTA of open worlds. It's the best racing game, but Forza Motorsport at launch was a disaster. It should have launched at a state to beat GT7, but it didn't. Yeah, different teams, different games, Turn 10 versus Playground. I mean, I don't want to throw Turn 10 under the bus because it seemed like they were probably trying to make more of a deadline than anything. But it is unfortunate that Forza Motorsport, was Returnal a launch title? I mean, it was considered a launch title because it launched what was its exact release date? It was like early 2021, wasn't it? April. Yeah, it was considered a launch title because it was like one of the first games. I mean, like, launch title, no, but like spiritually it was a launch title. Like, the PlayStation comes out like late 2020 and then like the first quarter of the next year, Returnal's one of the titles coming out. And at that time, there were not that many PlayStation 5s in circulation. You guys remember a little something called COVID? Like, Returnal did impeccably well given the circumstances. Anybody saying Returnal flopped is completely misinformed. It did not flop. It did very well. Its attach rate was incredibly healthy given the circumstances. brand new title from a studio not many people had heard of before. It was a rogue that ticked people off because they didn't know it was a rogue, because they either didn't read carefully or it kind of wasn't super clear. I will grant that. In the marketing, wasn't super clear that it was a rogue. And as Eugene is saying, it was one of the first $70 games. It had a lot working against it. It did not flop. The notion that Returnal flopped is bankrupt. It's false. It's not true. That game did not flop. If it would have flopped, do you think they would be still working with Housemarque and funding a sequel, a spiritual sequel in Sorrows? Do you think they would have ported it to PC if it was a flop? Come on. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense. You're not going to get a lot of movement and charity for me when you talk about Returnal. It's one of my favorite games. Although Biome 3 ticked me off last night. Madam and I have been working our way through Returnal. We got to Biome 3, which I learned something. I pulled her in to my game at Biome 3, and it automatically set her weapon proficiency to level 10, which was interesting. I was like, does it do that all the time, or was it because she got disconnected from my game because of how I suspended the state? I don't know, but she didn't have her guns. She didn't have any of her stuff, but she had level 10 proficiency. So that was nice. And her health was also really big. I was like, what the heck? It was like, I think it like mimicked my health. But I swear it changes the spawn rates of enemies when you play co-op. Because in Biome 1, there were way too many of the guys jumping and slamming the ground. I think we faced 4 or 5 of them. In Biome 2, we faced 4 or 5 of the guys that teleport with the swords. And then in Biome 3, 2 astronauts in one room. You can frick all the way off Biome 3. I was fighting an astronaut. I stepped back, exposed myself. I had a pillar on my right, and I exposed myself to the right. And I got melted by a second astronaut. What the frick, man? 2 in one room? Wasn't even that big of a room. I'm still upset. Anyway, I was healing off of adrenaline. It was amazing. All I needed was adrenaline 1. I could get myself back to full health every fight. I was healing off of adrenaline. I don't even know what I had. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. And then she just got a life leech carbine. I was very upset. It took me about a minute or 2 to calm down. I was like, are you kidding me? 2 astronauts in one room? Anyway, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button for me. Try to get us to 200 likes. We only need like 40 more. Give us a strong start to the day. Strong finish to the week. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. I mean, again, in this discussion, I really do think at this moment in time, there's no cause for concern. You will only see me become concerned and or critical if PlayStation starts doing multi-plat development and multi-plat shipment of their big games. Then I'll say, well, you've completely jettisoned everything that made your platform distinct, unique, and good. You want to take Helldivers over Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls? You want to take games you already ported to PC over? I don't give a frick. Why do I care about that? The game has been out. The game did its job. I've enjoyed it. Like, I know that Yote's coming. Death Stranding 2 has already come out. I rolled credits on it. I loved it. Definitely a top 10 game in my book. Oh, a top 5 for the year. Easy. Easy for me. Overall, though, it's up there. Excellent storytelling. Excellent everything. Saros is coming. Intergalactic's coming. Wolverine is coming. A Cory Barlog game is coming. All these games are being built for PlayStation first. So when exactly do people think this is going to start happening? I guess that's my question. Yo, Jay Stubbles, what's good, man? 44 months. When exactly do these people think that this is going to start happening? Like when? We see no signs that Saros, Intergalactic, Wolverine. We see no signs of any of these games being built for multiplat. Even Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls is PlayStation PC at launch. Now, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, I believe, will go to Switch 2 and Xbox. I think that's an easy prediction to make, especially Switch 2. I agree with what 8-Bit Pro is saying. When do these people think this is going to start happening? Everything in production right now is being built for PlayStation. Because if it wasn't, you would know. There'd be restructuring of the studios, they'd be hiring, they'd be budgeting differently. Their timelines for delivery would be different. 2026 and 2026 and 2028, when your position is off the top of your head in your own reality, anything can happen. You read my message? What'd you say, Collide? I think PlayStation games that sold less than 10 mil going to Xbox or PC or other platforms. I don't necessarily know if they're going to comb through and just be like, hey, anybody who didn't make 10 mil, it's time to go. I don't think that's going to be how they do it. I think it's going to be more or less what will be the least damaging to the brand to move and make the jump, which is why I think Helldivers is an easy pick. It's live service. It's not synonymous with the brand because most of the people who bought it on PC. But I feel like Horizon and God of War are probably in a position where they wouldn't do it. I don't know. We live in a time where everything we thought that was going to happen with one brand stopped happening and a completely new thing happened. It changes the entire economy. Ratchet and Returnal. Oh, which ones didn't make 10 million? Yeah, Ratchet and Returnal. Everything else is easily cleared 10 as far as we can tell. We talked Battlefield. Yes, we talked about how I haven't really outlined my position on it yet. I've got my notes here that I usually do about an hour into the show, which is in about 5 minutes. But the general consensus is that Battlefield is back. Now, I want to talk about whether or not Battlefield can actually make a run for Call of Duty. Because they're seemingly trying to offer everything that Call of Duty offers. And they're not coming out and saying it. As my short said last night, actions speak louder than words. They're seemingly showing we've got everything they've got. And they're not like saying it. They're just showing. Couldn't Sony theoretically contract a studio to port some games? Yeah. Yeah, but porting is not a concern. I have never once uttered a single amount of concern about porting. Anytime this conversation has come up, you know what's really great about what you can do with all of my content? You can do the same thing to me that they did to Mutahar. Mr. Engineer. Mr. Buy a $1,400 PC from Best Buy instead of the Pro that was not as good or as strong as the Pro. Maybe if he actually was an engineer, he would have known better than saying that. Anyways. You can do that to all my content. You can go back and look. Check every transcript. Check every video. I've never once had an issue with ports. Not once. Why? Why have I never had an issue with ports? Because it doesn't disrupt my value system. My value system is built for PlayStation first. I get a better game. I wish Xbox would have done that. I wish Xbox would have prioritized their own their own box. I think they would have been in a better position. I think their games would have been better. I think their studios would have been better equipped to bring games to market faster. I have never once been like, oh man, if a game goes to Xbox, I'm done. I'm angry. I'm what? What would I do? As a nomadic gamer, why would I care? As somebody who went from Nintendo to PC to Xbox to PC to now primarily playing on PlayStation, why would I give an ounce about ports? You won't find a single video where I take issue with this. I always said I'd be okay with Helldivers going over there. That's better for the live service game. I said this about the Switch 2 before it came out. I said I could see PlayStation porting games over there. Go port some PlayStation 4 games. Why not? They'll run. It's basically, from what we heard, this is before we had even seen the Switch 2 when we only had leaks. I said, sounds like it's going to be as strong as a PlayStation 4. Why not take over some PlayStation 4 games? And be like, hey, you really like those games? Cool. Yeah, well, the PS5's got the sequel, and the sequel looks like this. Spider-Man 3 looks like this on the PlayStation 6. So even before the Switch 2 was out, I was completely open to this idea. I was like, why would I care if you port an existing game? Now I had nuance and said, I don't see the business angle of it. I don't see the business angle. I don't know why you would dilute your brand. I don't know why you would say, hey, these things that really make our brand stand apart and our brand ambassadors, they're identity markers of the brand. I was like, I think that would be damaging to the brand. Me personally not caring is separate from my business analysis. My analysis of it was, I don't think they would do this. Like, God of War is like an ambassador. It's like a tent pole. It's an identity marker of PlayStation. They spent a lot of money and have had great success. Like let's take Horizon as an example. 38 million copies of Horizon sold, and it's seen as a PlayStation game. You lose some of that if that lands on Xbox. Do I care if it goes to Xbox? No. It doesn't affect my experience at all. I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I love Forbidden West. I love Burning Shores. I'm looking forward to the future of that franchise. It getting ported to Xbox at this stage of the game, why would that matter at all? Why would anybody care about that? People are talking about this in many, many different ways, and my perspective has not moved an inch. It's been, as long as they don't start doing multi-plat day and date, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me at all. When they started porting games to PC, or when PC ports were bad, I didn't celebrate that like some really hardcore PlayStation fans did. I was like, well, that's a terrible way to treat your product. Why would you do that? You will never, ever find a video upload or live stream where I'm like upset, angry, or worried about ports, especially after the Shuhei Yoshida interview. I was like, well, yeah, it makes perfectly good sense. And it was something that I had been saying for a very long time. Here's the entire cost to produce and make a game, and then tack on a teeny little bit over here to port it to PC. It's an easy conclusion to come to. Yeah, well, why would we not do that? With the way Lono's advocating, the devs don't waste any of their time building the game to PC Xbox. That's exactly right. They don't spend a second doing anything. Or, Jack, they might change some things within the pipeline that helps porting later. We know this happened with Ragnarok. Seemingly had no effect on the game or its quality. But after that God of War 2018 was ported to PC, there was an interview where they said, yeah, we've learned a lot in doing this and we've changed some of our pipeline, making the port to PC easier. So that is something that might come from it. But you're not going to see them when they're developing a game for, like, let's say the PlayStation 6. They're not going to be like, oh, well, we better make sure this runs really well on the Switch 2 and the Xbox, and PC. No, they're only worried about the PlayStation hardware. As stated by Herman Hulse, these games are meant to show off the hardware. That's their goal. That's their job. Because they're a hardware company. You have to see the difference. The studios that PlayStation owns are an extension of their hardware identity. That's what they are. They're an extension of Sony and PlayStation's hardware identity. That's what those studios, that's their purpose. That's why when he talks about it, he says they're meant to show off the PlayStation 5 hardware. That's their job. You don't do that if you go to your devs and say, well, now you got to build Spider-Man 3 for the Switch 2 and PC at the same time. Well, okay, well, now you're not going to be showing off the PlayStation 6. You're going to just be building another multi-plat game. They're different aims entirely. They're completely different aims. There's a reason that Breath of the Wild is impressive for what it does, how it looks, and how it runs on the Switch 1. Because the makers of the game were only focused on every shortcut they could take, every level of optimization they could take, every development trick they could take with the Switch, they were able to do and work on because they were only building that game for the Switch 1. That's why I've always said this is the most important thing, is building for PlayStation first. And what I've said this for months, you don't, since they started villainizing exclusives, when Phil Spencer blew the dog whistle and was like, I don't know who's helped by Helldivers not being on Xbox, right? And they all started demonizing exclusives. I kept saying the same thing. You don't want to break up this happy marriage. You've got studios that for a very, very long time have had a happy marriage with a hardware company where they build for this hardware first, and it's resulted in award-winning, award-nominated games. Why would you want to bust that up just to get more AAA multi-plat slop? Which is one of the primary complaints from so many people lately, is the AAA sucks, it's always the same, it's always buggy, you always need a day one patch, they don't take any risks, they don't do anything new. There's a great video by a channel that I'm subscribed to about this very subject. It's about this very subject. There's a guy by the name of, is this him? Yes, this is him. Asad Anjum. Okay? Assad Anjem did this video right here about Risk. And look what's right dead center of the thumbnail. Celine from Returnal, okay? You get games like Returnal when you have this as the ecosystem and context for game development. When you're making a game and it's got to land on a broad audience and a broad spectrum of hardware, what are you going to get? Less innovation, less risk, less new stuff. A bunch of safe stuff we've played before. This is why the narrative about AAA gets so much buy-in from people, because that's such a common occurrence. These franchises just shovel out another Call of Duty and shovel out another sports game, right? AAA very much does that. Why? Well, because it's this giant aircraft carrier development. You got a big budget and a big team, and you're building for, 3 platforms at once. So you end up with rare shining stars like Red Dead Redemption 2, but then you end up with games like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk prove what I'm saying rather clearly, because don't you think it's true that they built amazing games and they had amazing ideas and they had all these performance problems that had to be fixed over the years after their development and after their shipment, after they shipped the games? That proves it. It's like you can clearly see that you've got these developers that have good ideas and good vision, and when you funnel it through that garden hose, you end up with games that aren't ready. Red Dead wasn't even built for PC originally. Yeah, and using Red Dead as an example, you basically were only building for 2 platforms at the time, not 3. I get console preferences like community and player base, but hating on a console or gaming company is ridiculous. Hang on one second. I'm being told Spider-Man 2 wouldn't be possible on Switch 2. I was talking about Spider-Man 1. In my mind, you could take the PS4 version of Spider-Man 1 and bring it over to the Switch 2. Red Dead Redemption took 8 years. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption also took 8 years. You're closing in on a decade of development to get a game like that. This is where gamers consistently argue against themselves. It's like, well, AAA games suck and they're slop and they're buggy and they're glitchy and they're inconsistent. But then they'll also argue out of the same mouth, out of the same breath of oxygen, they'll be like, well, exclusives are bad and games should just be everywhere. Oh, wow, that's some dizzying logic. Oh, and they'll also complain that the games are taking too long to come out. They hate delays, they're sick of delays. And then they'll cite a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 that was almost a decade to build for 2 platforms, not 3. This is why I think people are looking at this too narrowly. I don't think there's any signs of PlayStation being like, we're going to jettison everything that gets us award-winning games. And, I don't know, games like Horizon selling 38 million copies. We're going to jettison all of that and just start doing multi-plat development and ship all of our future games day and date everywhere. Full slate, everything's going, day and date, everything's going. That would be an absolutely absurd detonation of their business principles. A job posting and an insider on Twitter has everybody convinced that a dominant, and I mean dominant company is going to abandon everything that got them to the dominant position because, well, it's all about MAU now and profit. And it's like, yes, we're in the second half of the gen. That's typical for the focus of the C-suite, as well as those who are looking at maximizing profit, to shift away from hardware saturation and to shift into MAU mentality, because monthly active users are now your primary means of money, because you've saturated where you're going to then decline as far as your sales projections go for the console, which GTA 6 will likely stay that a little teeny bit. Dietrich, thank you so much for 3 months of memberships over here on Purple. And currently, YouTube's letting Purple have the day. Look at that. I think eventually, not this generation, they will have to. Infinite growth will lead to an eventual drying up of new ideas for growing numbers of the existing base. Eventually, everyone will have to. I think this is a complete misunderstanding of how games make their money, though, Solemn. You're like, well, they're eventually going to have to do this. So explain to me how they're going to solve the problem of inflated development costs and that being a threat to profit by increasing development costs, because that's what multi-plat development will inevitably do to these games. It will make development costs go up. You can't just go to Insomniac today and say, can you guys just go ahead and make Spider-Man 3 for PC and Switch 2? Can you just go ahead and do that? We're running out of consumers here. We're running out of consumers. So can you guys just go ahead and make Spider-Man 3 for the Switch 2 and for PC? You know what Insomniac's going to say? No. But we can with a lot more money and a lot more staff. Would you like to increase the budget of this game beyond what it already is in order to do that? So that's what people really fail to see, I think, in these discussions, is you're asking somebody to put out a fire with gasoline. Man, we got a fire over here brewing, boys. We better pour some gasoline on it. I think that'll help put it out. I mean, gas kind of looks like water, doesn't it? I mean, it should put it out, shouldn't it? The number of potential new consumers you get has to be greater and far greater, because it's enormous risk and companies are risk averse. It has to be far greater than the amount you're going to spend to do that, to expand your company, to hire new people. And then we all know this, the game is going to take longer to come to market. This is why you commonly see things happen like Jedi Survivor. It needed another 8 or 9 months to cook, and they didn't take it. Why? They were more than likely looking at the budget and saying, you got to ship this dadgum thing. It's expensive. We've got a license with Disney. Get this thing out the dadgum door. These are the things that happen when you make for multiple platforms. You're up against a bandwidth wall. You're up against a budget wall. You're up against a ship or get off the pot wall. For cross-platform development, they would have to undermine the specialized hardware of the PS5 to port to the PC and Xbox day and date. Those other systems can't perform the I/O of the PS5. Yeah, any game right now that's being developed for the PS5 that's interacting with the I/O and the data controller and some of the cool stuff they've done with like Ratchet, well, they were able to do it on PC. Yeah, kind of. And if anybody's leveraging that even greater, well, they can't do that if you're building multi-plat. If you're building for Switch 2, if you're building for Series X or Series S or PC, you've got to completely say, well, no, we can't do any of those things. An ad played in the middle of your take, so I didn't catch what you said, but your stance was in support for games being offered on multiple platforms, or were you against it due to the game taking longer to develop? I think the absolute best scenario is when a game is built for one platform and then ported to other platforms later. I think that's the best. That doesn't mean that's a good fit for every single company. Not everybody can do the ideal. I think that's the ideal. That's my personal opinion. I think there's clear evidence that you get better results when you take a game like God of War Ragnarok. It's built just for PlayStation. They leverage all those cool systems, make an excellent game, and then you have a very talented studio working with Santa Monica to port the game to PC. I feel like everybody gets a better product. Everybody gets a better product. The people on PlayStation got a better product. The people on PC got a better product. If you would have gone to Santa Monica and said, Ragnarok needs to be built for PlayStation, Series X, Series S, and PC at the same time, you would not have received the same quality of game, and you wouldn't have received it in the same time frame. It would have taken longer to come to market, and it wouldn't have been at the same quality. It would not have. That's my belief. I've been very, very compelled to believe that. No one's compelled me to think that multi-plat increases quality. There's probably a way to scientifically prove this, right? It's not entropy, it's something else. I guarantee you there's smarter people than me that could prove this to be true. That the minute you take a project and you expand its bandwidth and development to other platforms, and you have all these other hardware configurations, all these other potential bottlenecks and challenges and things that might be like, well, yeah, we can do that over here, but we can't do that over there. You could probably scientifically prove this to be true, that the quality of the games goes down when you make them for more platforms. There's just things you are going to sacrifice and things you're not going to be able to do. You have so many more moving parts. AI could help. There is certainly, and I've talked about that, there is certainly something to be said for AI shortening the length of time that it takes for a game to port, because they could obviously leverage it to streamline certain aspects. The problem is people with crappy PCs, 1070 Ti, they expect to play everything. You were supposed to at me, Lono, about Battlefield 6 when you stream. I'm sorry, I just scheduled the stream and went live. There's ways for you to be alerted. Let's go through the stories. Let's go through the stories, because we're past the hour, and Nate the Hate has added some commentary that I think is very, very important. All right, he's added some commentary because he's being cited, and he's a little irritated. All right. Hang on. So we got that, and then we got Mafia, the Old Country. I'm getting some trailers for you guys. Excuse me. No. Half screen, please. What's my... How did I do this second? Yeah, okay, I got this right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Is that also from Nate? Because somebody was saying Nate had more information about an Xbox game coming to PlayStation, and now they're saying like spring of next year with the DLC or whatever. Starfield, that is. Okay. Let me, there we go. Okay. Let me just kind of go through this, and then we can keep talking. Because Nate the Hate has added more commentary, but first I want to talk some Battlefield, all right? Okay, so the Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal has happened, and many are weighing in, many saying this is like the return of Battlefield. And I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the unknown, because most of this, I think, is good. From the good aspect, it does genuinely feel like Battlefield has returned to its roots. It's returned to form. It has that Battlefield 4 feel. I remember playing Battlefield 4 a bunch with my buddies, and something that they really executed well on, I think, is the sound, the bombast, the environment, the tone, the vibe, right? I know vibe gets thrown around a lot as a word, but it's just the appropriate word here. This game just has a feel. It doesn't feel like every other mil-sim shooter. There's something very distinct about Battlefield. The punchiness and the explosions, the low rumble of distant fights, jets flying overhead, and the rattle of your gun just cracking off shots across people all the way on the other side of the map. Right now, I will say, too, from their showcase, performance and graphics look very, very good and solid. I also liked how in the multiplayer reveal, they allowed us to see a ton of gameplay. They didn't just hype us up with a trailer, because obviously if you look at the trailer that I'm showing right now, it's easy to get excited, but it's very quick cuts. It's very quick edits. It could be very much smoothed over in a lot of post-processing and rendering and things of that nature. We know there's a lot of wizardry that goes on in gaming marketing, but they allowed hundreds of streamers to just sit and for hours upon hours just stream the game. We got a very, very good look at Battlefield 6. But as that hits the screen, let's talk about the bad. This could be too broad. They've got the classic Battlefield modes that I think really drew my attention. I was not anticipating getting excited or being interested. I was like, I'm mainly interested in the campaign. But they've got the classic Battlefield modes, but they also have Team Deathmatch, and they also have a free Warzone coming, right? Well, I say free Warzone, a free Battle Royale. These are the ways I think they could really pit themselves against Call of Duty. And they didn't say that was their goal, but it seems like that's their goal. And that could be too broad. It could serve as too big of an offer, right? You want players in all of these funnels. You want them in the classic Battlefield modes. You want people in Team Deathmatch that are preferring the more stripped down stuff. You want people in your free Battle Royale. Call of Duty's been able to do this because Call of Duty is a monolith in the industry. There are fans of Call of Duty all across the spectrum who will enjoy all those varying offers. I don't know if the same can be said for Battlefield, but that's where we get into the unknown. Console performance is still unknown. We're hearing that a lot of the lighting and things in this gameplay and what they showcase during the multiplayer reveal will run just fine on console. That remains to be seen. We also don't know what the campaign will be like, if it will feature anything like co-op. We also don't know much about the monetization. Many people expressing concern with cosmetics. Don't give us goofy bunny suits or Nicki Minaj or Beavis and Butthead. We also don't know how they plan to sustain the game with an ongoing model. When you have a battle royale and you've got arena and you've got like your battlefield modes, conquest and others, how do you maintain that in an ongoing format and not upset people or lose people? These are all the big questions. But for now, it seems that Battlefield is back. And even as somebody who was mainly only interested in the campaign, this multiplayer looks like a fun time, like a knock around. I said it reminded me of Helldivers, which is going to sound weird because the games are absolutely nothing alike. But it had that fun knock around with your buddies on the weekend feel. Not that serious, not that sweaty, just goofy, silly, funny moments, explosions, boom booms, and zoom zooms. I just made that up, but I'm going to patent it and trademark it, so don't ever say it without my permission. In any case, I think Battlefield 6 shows a very promising future. We'll be checking it out in October when it lands, and I hope to see you there. So that's Battlefield 6. Those are my thoughts. That's what I think. And now we got to talk about, the thing we've already been talking about. Are more PlayStation games going to Xbox? Well, we've already covered this. A job posting set the world on fire. My coverage basically said there's no major cause for concern here. This is a continuance of a strategy that we've known about for many, many times, many, many years, I should say. And just a month ago, Herman Holst and Nishino took questions about this and reiterated that they are not changing their strategy. They said that we have no reason to sort of pivot and copy what Microsoft is doing, which is what everybody is claiming. That Helldivers 2 and this job posting are just the beginning. This is PlayStation's just 4 games moment. Now, I argued this morning that leading up to Phil Spencer saying just 4 games, we had a lot more indications that they were changing as a company. There was an interview with Famitsu that Phil Spencer did where he referred to PlayStation as part of the community of Xbox and was asked, it sounds like you're talking about this and thinking about this differently. And he admitted that he was. And he said that Minecraft was the catalyst. At the time, I speculated, he is signaling a software strategy, a publisher strategy, as if one game seemingly changed their mind. Now, fast forward from there, you had CFO remarks at a Wells Fargo summit saying that they were going to put games on Nintendo and PlayStation. They were no longer considered competitors. That's pretty strong language from the CFO. Then, in the beginning of the following year, in 2024, Satya Nadella says, well, we can do what we've always wanted to do now, which is publish games on all platforms. You had a lot of signs, a lot of strong language from the C-suite about what Xbox was going to do. PlayStation seemingly saying the exact opposite when they're talking to shareholders and answering questions about this, saying, we're not changing strategy. We treat our tentpole titles differently. Now Nate the Hate has weighed in, and I wonder if his statements will be treated with the same scrutiny when he said what he said about Fable getting delayed. Maybe people won't be consistent here. We'll have to wait and see, right? Is anybody going to throw him under the bus or call his character into question now that he's saying something like this? Or is it only when he says something about Fable slipping? Anyways. He said, more Sony games will come to Xbox. Yes, he says this on Twitter. Those are his exact words. More Sony games will come to Xbox. Yes, he says, I don't know anything about Lego Horizon going to Xbox, but even if it did, would anyone care? I don't think anybody would. I don't think anybody views Lego Horizon as a tentpole PlayStation title. It didn't even sell that well. It actually wasn't even a very good Lego game. I played it and didn't like it that much. My son loved it, however, so maybe it struck a chord with a younger audience on Nintendo, but it didn't seem to sell that well. Now, he replied to his own tweet, and he said, I don't have any specifics to share at present. So he doesn't have any specifics. He just knows there are more coming, okay? Now, it's my understanding that his sources are almost entirely Xbox sources. This is why most of his leaks, most of his insider intel have been about Xbox. So it would stand to reason that this is where he's getting the information. Now, since he said this, he's gone on to say something else. He's being cited and quoted and thrown in reports. And he's not appreciating some of the ways that it's showing up. And this is what he had to say. He said, listen, if you're going to cite, report the above tweet, can you be sure to mention the tweet below? The one he's referring to is the one that says, he says, I have no specifics in regards to what software is being released. He says, I'm seeing a lot of claims stating that I said the entire Sony slate is Xbox bound, which I never said. It's interesting, isn't it? He says one sentence and sets the world on fire. Everybody starts speculating, whole slate, whole slate, whole slate. Why do you think he's pushing back against that? Maybe because he knows that's probably not going to happen. Maybe because he knows what little he does have information on is probably only an indication about games like Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, which I have said is probably Switch bound and Xbox bound after an initial exclusivity period for PlayStation and PC. Maybe Lego Horizon. Maybe more live service games. Maybe games that have already been ported to PC because Shuhei Yoshida said porting games that have already been developed is like, quote, printing money. My thoughts on this remain unchanged. A month ago, Nishino and Holst say rather strongly the strategy's not changing. Now, if you think they're going to utter this to shareholders only to have a job posting and an Xbox insider blow the whistle on the fact that they basically lied to shareholders, I've got a bridge to sell you. If games already ported to PC start landing on Xbox, this to me doesn't really change anything. It doesn't change my position. I've had this position for a very long time. Porting to other platforms doesn't harm my experience, and it doesn't harm the product. I celebrated Returnal and Ghost of Tsushima going to PC. They're some of my favorite titles. Long-standing hardcore PlayStation fans have been very critical of putting games on PC. Well, I'm not a long-standing PlayStation fan. I'm somebody who owns a PlayStation and buys games there because I see their quality. When a PlayStation studio builds for PlayStation first, it's an award-winning game. It's an award-nominated game. Some of the best games I have played in my 30-something years of being a gamer are PlayStation Studios games, whether it's Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Forbidden West, the Burning Shores DLC, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, most recently, Death Stranding 2, made in conjunction with Decima, the Guerrilla engine that they worked on together for Death Stranding 1. These are the relationships. These are the seed beds that lead to great games, which is why I can't wait to play Ghost of Yotei and Saros, the spiritual sequel from Housemarque to one of my favorite games, Returnal. If that's not disrupted, I see no signs for concern here. I see no signs for selling your PlayStation or, oh no, everything's going away. That is, I think, the key piece people are missing here. Switching their studios to multi-plat delivery of their big tentpole titles, so like, let's say Spider-Man 3 is being made for PlayStation 6 and Xbox and PC and the Switch. I would, at that point in time, be very critical of that. I would imagine that would lead to less quality games. I actually think this is probably more in line with what we know they've been willing to do with live service games. But also, I think this is more in line with what Xbox has decided to do with its platform. If future Xboxes are Windows gaming devices, it stands to reason that PlayStation sees no problem with saying, listen, if we're going to print money, as Shuhei Yoshida said, porting our games to PC later, why would we not just be in more storefronts? Why would we not be in the Epic Game Store? Why would we not be in the Xbox application as well? Those are just more potential customers buying the game after the fact. We know Hiroki Totoki has said you can make more money on a game when you go with the multi-platform strategy, when you bring it to a platform later. I think that is the key here. Since the beginning of these discussions, I have always said building a game for PlayStation first and porting it later, I think is the ideal. I think you end up with better games. Nintendo games are made for Nintendo, and then they stay there. But you end up with games like Breath of the Wild, a technological feat that seemed impossible. A game of that size and scope, an open world, an award-winning, Game of the Year winning game made for the Switch 1. Well, you had developers building for one piece of hardware. Consistently, the big AAA multi-plat games that come out, they're not ready at launch. They need to be patched and fixed. The cadence of those games is rather consistent, but the quality is not. historically speaking, if you want to point to games that are at the level of PlayStation Studios games like Ragnarok and others, you've got to run to games that are either old and haven't been out for a long time, like Red Dead Redemption 2, or people this morning were pointing to like Cyberpunk and The Witcher 3, which took years, or in The Witcher's case, at least months, to get into a better place. More consistently, I think, than anything, you can see that multi-plat AAA games don't have that quality. They take longer to get to that place. And also, the industry and gamers have been very critical about the fact that like big AAA games are commonly not innovating. They're safe, they're samey, they're not really doing anything new. Did you ever consider the fact that that's because they're developing for like multiple platforms at once instead of developing for one piece of bespoke hardware? You ever think that maybe some of the stuff they're doing in like Returnal and Ratchet and Clank and some of the instantaneous loading, which yes, was able to be replicated years later on PC, but some of those things were before their time. I even cited this morning some of the people saying that Yote didn't look that much better than Tsushima is a feather in Sucker Punch's cap. Have you ever considered the fact that the reason Tsushima looked so good and was seemingly so ahead of its time was because it was made for one system, the PlayStation 4? Maybe that's why The Last of Us Part 2 was described by Microsoft internally as something that's way ahead, something that they're not even doing right now. That's because these games were built for one system. The developers can dig down deep and they can innovate and they can create new ideas and try new things because they have a healthy relationship with the hardware itself. And Mark Cerny has signaled that the future of PlayStation is going to continue to do that in their relationship with AMD and Project Amethyst. I don't know how anybody could deny this. They're a hardware company, fully and heavily invested in making their hardware the best. We've already got leaks about the PlayStation 6 and a handheld. Why? Because they're a hardware company. Microsoft is a software company. That's why these strategies will never look the same. And if they start to look the same, then that means Sony has completely jettisoned their entire identity as a hardware company and a brand, as PlayStation is an extension of that, and their studios are an extension of that. If they jettison that, I'll be critical of it. And I think the games will demonstrably prove everything I've been talking about right now. But I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't think you're going to see a company this size with this long standing of success and their dominance in the market right now. I don't think you're going to see them just abandon all of that because profit. The biggest piece of this equation that people are missing is what Shuhei Yoshida said in his interviews after his retirement. He says when you port a game to other platforms later, it's like printing money. You need to couple what he is saying with what Hiroki Totoki is saying. That's the key to unlocking this entire mystery. Yes, they want to make more profit. Yes, they want to maximize the amount of money a game generates, and it's not through multi-plat day-and-day development. It's through porting. I actually came to that just this morning, that the interview with Yoshida is like the key to unlocking all of this. Everyone's missing the forest for the trees because they just think, well, PlayStation's going to get greedy. They're going to absolutely dilute everything the brand's been about, and all their games are going to be multi-plat now, and they're going to go to these other platforms and they're not going to be as good. Shu said that it's printing money to port it later, and Totoki says one of the best ways they can maximize profit right now is with a multi-platform strategy with their games. And then Nishino and Holst said the strategy's not changing. So if there's analysis out there that's saying it is changing and they're not including any of these remarks, you're probably getting something that's heavily spun in a wrong direction. Those are just my thoughts. If you got thoughts, I want to hear them. Anyway, we got one more story here, and it's about Mafia. So let's take a look at it, all right? So the PC specs for Mafia: The Old Country caused a bit of a stir and a bit of a panic. There was concern about performance on console, specifically with regard to 60 FPS. Now, a side note here. This really reinforces my opinion that both the gaming community and the gaming industry at large have fully changed on this subject. Gaming companies are well aware that 60 FPS matters. This went viral, it trended, so much so that the official Mafia: The Old Country Twitter account had to reply to this situation. Do you still think that GTA 6 isn't trying to figure out how to do 60 FPS? Anyways, this is what they said. They said, quote, "Today we released PC spec requirements. We've seen some questions around consoles. On PS5 and the Xbox Series X, Mafia: The Old Country will have both quality and performance modes at launch, with the game running at an average 60 FPS in performance mode." Their use of the word average there is very interesting to me. Usually they say they're targeting 60 FPS. Also, the Series S is absent from this. Not surprising. That parity between Xbox Series X and S is all but dissolved and gone, snapped into dust like Thanos. Series X is getting a quality mode and performance mode, and S is just seemingly not. Players who want to prioritize higher resolution and visual fidelity should select quality mode, they said, while players who prefer to prioritize frame rate should select performance mode. Now, okay, listen. There's a really, really good video, though, okay? You got to pump the brakes on Mafia. This is not me, like, defending Mafia. I think it's an important discussion in the realm of 30 FPS versus 60 FPS and why it's important to have these performance modes, as this company just learned, like, they throw out their PC specs and everybody starts panicking about the console versions of the game, because this matters. It's why the Gotham Knights developers, hid the fact that their game was capped at 30 up until, like, a couple of weeks before release. But anyways, listen, this game has had a lot of visual degradation. There's a really good video out there right now. A lot of downgrade. There was even a combat trailer that came out recently, the one that I'm watching right here, and many people said it looked a little awkward, a little clunky, and a little weird, okay? There's a potentially a review embargo next week. We don't know what that review embargo is. I've not seen it stated anywhere. Usually by now it would be stated. Usually, like, it's a day, maybe 2 days before the official release. I would actually hold off on buying Mafia: The Old Country right now unless you're very, very confident in it. The graphical degradation, the awkwardness in some of these fight sequences, you're going to be able to potentially watch me stream it on my channel, or you could watch somebody else stream it. There's also hopefully going to be reviews and a review embargo. So I'm not defending this game. I'm merely giving you the information that it will have performance modes at launch on Series X and the PS5. So, that's it. Those were the stories I felt like were the biggest stories. So, there you go. This man's nickname in high school was awkward, clunky, and weird. Well, you might actually be able to put up guides on how to play the game, Zubair. Help people perform, well in Mafia: The Old Country. Totillo pulled quotes from the 2042 days. They sound familiar. This is Battlefield back to form. Feels like the culmination of many of the franchise's best pieces. Battlefield's back to what it does best. The first previews of Battlefield 6 are glowing. Hopefully the game is great. But the above quotes are from previews of Battlefield 2042. Wait and see. I appreciate caution. I do. I appreciate people pointing that out. Allow me to retort. Did Battlefield 2042 have an event where they let like hundreds of streamers play for like hours on end in front of the watching world? I don't remember that. I remember there being a beta that was heavily criticized for being really buggy and glitchy. That's what I remember. Battlefield 2042 looked super impressive. They had their first beta and it was like cheeks. It was like, what the heck is this game? It had all kinds of problems. I don't think they did. What they did yesterday with Battlefield 6, I think, is a complete change in what they did with Battlefield 2042. They also were very transparent about listening. They were very transparent about things they did wrong. They were very transparent about what the community wanted. So I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, people said the same thing last time. Well, last time we had trailers. And then there was a beta. And as soon as the beta hit, I remember people being like, oh, gosh. This is really bad. I don't remember a Battlefield 2042 with hundreds of streamers streaming the game. I don't remember that. Was there an event like that for Battlefield 2042? I don't think that there was. The hype around 2042 died within the trailer. Well, I think he's drawing a false equivalency because he's saying the first previews. These weren't previews. They were live streams of... we got to watch people play the game. This is not people that went to a preview event and then came back and said, it's great, it's a return to form. Now, you could argue that maybe they were playing a vertical slice, but a vertical slice of what? They were on a map with all the vehicles, all the guns, all the mechanics, and it seemingly ran very well, and people had a great time. Like, I like Steven Totillo, and again, I welcome caution. I think caution is fine. I am not trying to hype people up, but to act like this is the same as when Battlefield 2042 was shown off, I don't think they're equal at all. If this game was another Battlefield 2042, they wouldn't have done what they did yesterday. They would have tried to keep everything locked down and secretive, and you'd have a bunch of glib content creators coming back from an event being like, it's great, it's a return to form. MZ's the GOAT. This is factual. The best moments was MZ hitting them snipes. I don't know why they didn't just dedicate the remainder of the stream to her. You know what I mean? I got right back into shoutcasting. I called her the cute killer. I was like, and another headshot from the cute killer. I couldn't resist. I was like, there you go. Somebody give her the nickname. In any case, that was the best part. I was like, just watch her the rest of the time. Let's just see these snipes. Also, it was really fun watching the guys in the jets. I think that was really cool. They would go way out and like swoop back in. And then who was the guy in the dadgum armor, the armament, who just wouldn't let up? Who is that? Shoot. They paid too much money to that room to focus on one person. I'm obviously kidding around. I'm not saying that they should have actually just shown her the rest of the time. She obviously didn't play that well the entire time. I don't think anybody could. She just had a run where she hit like 5 snipes in a row, and it was awesome. Battlefield 6 trailer hit the same as the BF1 trailer. 2042's trailer was underwhelming, to say the least. I remember Battlefield 2042's marketing getting people excited. I don't remember an event with hundreds of streamers streaming the game so that everybody could see it. I don't think you can look at that event yesterday and be like, yeah, I don't know. They might be kind of pulling the wool over our eyes. This might be another dud. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a distinct difference. Also, we'll know very soon. There's a beta in like a week. And then another beta. And then another beta. So, I would say, I would say as a non-hardcore Battlefield fan, they got my attention yesterday, and it was due in large part to how they packaged everything. I think there's a distinct difference between like a trailer that hypes everybody up and then a beta that deflates all of the excitement. Because as soon as that beta field, I'm not talking about Reddit. I'm talking about a video game, okay? Battlefield. As soon as the beta for Battlefield 2042 hit, I felt like the excitement dried up because there was just so many problems that people were having. "2042 was just ahead of its time." Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was so ahead of its time, it was already dead. That's how far ahead of its time it was. Dietrich's left a comment on Twitch that I didn't see until just now. He says, "This is where we differ. I respect the point of development time taking a while, but I don't know that the game will be better just because it's a multi-plat. It's a compelling argument, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not sold. Look at Rockstar. That's multi-plat for at least the consoles, but it still does well. Help me out with the cause, respectfully. I don't know about this one." I don't know if we're misunderstanding each other. Maybe let me reread what you said. You said, "I don't know that the game will be, quote, better just because it's a multi-plat." I'm literally arguing that making it multi-plat works against its quality. It actively works against the game's quality. Developers have spoken to this specifically, that building for one platform allows them to do so much more. It allows them to innovate. It allows them to leverage more. As an example, now you can go too far with this, and I think a good example of going too far with this would be Final Fantasy 16. Because Yoshi P is like, Final Fantasy 16 is really going to show off the power of the PS5. They were able to really leverage as much as they possibly could in that game. I think they went too far because I don't think performance was consistent enough. I thought their performance mode was quite bad. And I thought some of the icon fights went a little bit overboard, which led to them having to really drop internal resolution, which it wasn't that noticeable unless you're doing like pauses and freeze frames, which on average you're not doing that when you're playing a giant icon fight. But still, a lot of what they did with Final Fantasy 16 wouldn't have happened if they were building that game for multiple platforms, because they wouldn't have been leveraging just one system in particular and optimizing around it, right? Hilly says that's confidence, having 3 beta weekends. I agree. I think Battlefield, not just allowing us to see hundreds of streamers playing it for hours on end, they're doing 3 betas. So they're very confident in this product. I think, if you want to get a theory from me, from 30,000 feet, let me see what you guys think. Let me see if you guess the same thing I'm guessing. Why do you think they're doing 3 betas? just like throw a dart at the board. Why do you think, after that showcase especially, why do you think they're doing 3 betas? Camille says stress testing. I think that's a bullseye. I think that's an absolute bullseye. I think they're anticipating this game being in high demand. I think they are anticipating very, very high player numbers. And these betas are more about stress testing. It's not 3 weekends. The close is 8 to 9. The open's 10 to 14. No, there's 3, Rope. I'm fairly certain. There's 3. They showed it. Isn't there? I thought there was 3. I thought there was the one coming up, and then there was 2 after that. I swear they had an image on the screen with 3 betas. I am trying to find that image right now, and I can't find it. Where is it? It had 3. Am I losing my mind? 7 to 8, 9 to 10, then 11 to 12 or something? A closed beta, 8 to 9. There's an early access beta, then there's 2 betas after that, right? Early access beta, then open beta for 2 weekends. Yeah, that's 3. Yeah, that's the picture I was looking for. Thank you. This is what I wanted to show. Okay? Let me just get this on the board. I'm not losing my dadgum mind. I promise. Well, at least not yet. Here you go. Yeah, I think this is all about stress testing. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying this is the same beta. You can just get in early. Okay, that's fair. 7 through the 10th is beta 1. 14th through the 17th is beta 2. Okay, you're right. I misunderstood. It looks like 3 betas to me, right? Quick glance, you're like, oh, they're doing 3 betas. Okay, no, that's fair. I actually think it still emphasizes my point, right? Why would you do closed, open? They're stress testing. I think they're anticipating very, very, very high player counts. I think they were internally saying they expected this to be like higher than any game they've ever shipped before. So to me, that's what these feel like. They're doing this structure with their betas literally because they're stress testing. I don't think this is because they're like, well, we really need player feedback. I mean, certainly they could be looking for that. But I think it's more focused on stress testing than anything. Did you get into the labs? I just did the thing where I watched Timmy Tenders and I got like the code or whatever. That's all I did. I don't know what that gets me into. I just assume I was just trying to get into the one next week so I could either play with you guys or show it to you. Here's the question, Lono. Lunch. Do they eat their own or do they eat cods? Yeah, so if you guys didn't see my short on this, which if you didn't take my poll on this, let's check in on that. So, how would you rate Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal? I mean, look at this. Like this, they did their job. Okay. They did their job. It's got a great score. Okay. And seemingly the reception everywhere was very positive. So the question is, do they eat COD's lunch? Well, I uploaded a short last night, which has a fantastic, you talk about a fantastic short thumbnail. I mean, this is a work of art, y'all. That's a work of art. Okay. This is, this might be my magnum opus as shorts go. I mean, that thumbnail is wonderful. Anyways, make sure and watch that. In that short, I basically say, are they gunning for Call of Duty? They didn't come out and say it, but actions speak louder than words. Like, they didn't come out and try. I didn't get a single inkling from the presentation, from the marketing, from the discussions that they had, that they were like, yeah, we're going for Call of Duty. Here we come. Like, they were like, no, this is Battlefield. This is the best version of Battlefield. This is the Battlefield you've all wanted. And I remember before leading up to it, I said, their goal should not be to be the antithesis to Call of Duty. Their goal should be to be the best the best Battlefield that's out there. Okay? Now, I say that, but just listen to this on paper. Classic Battlefield feel and vibe with game modes like Conquest. More stripped down arena style team deathmatch and squad deathmatch, or whatever they call it. And then a free-to-play battle royale. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds awfully similar to the breadth of offerings that Call of Duty has. So, it seems like they're offering something for everybody that likes Call of Duty. They're taking COD fatigue into account and expecting a lot of players on launch, says Sneaky Wolf. It's been Call of Duty vs. Battlefield for a while, even if they're a different type of military games. They still have Rush. As far as I know, they have like Rush, Conquest, and other like token games. They had a new one, didn't they, that they said is going to culminate in some type of a special battle at the end or something. I forget how they described it, but it was like there's going to be some epic battle at the end. Okay. It's called Escalation. That's the one that like ends in like some big crazy fight, they said. Did they show Escalation at the event? I felt like they didn't. I think the end was a Battle Royale preview. With the fire coming, yes, I think so as well, Rope. They tried Seek and Destroy in Battlefield 4. It was okay, not great. I think they got rid of it after. They didn't show Escalation? Okay. Yeah, they talked about it. It's rumored to be a big raid-like experience. Huh. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet on YouTube, please do so. We kind of slowed down on that front. We had a really, really great debate. It was lively. It was fun. But it means I wasn't asking for likes. Try to get me to 300 likes on YouTube. That actually really, really helps us. Like, we can be in the middle of a stream and, like, all of a sudden get a bunch of new folks to come in and hang out, which I forgot to put a link to this on the poll, which I'm supposed to do. So allow me to do that now. Okay. So if ever you guys see those polls, I will usually do a live discussion link pinned right at the top. I usually do that with the shorts as well. Just to give people an opportunity who may be interacting with the poll or the short to come in and join the conversation about these very things. Oops. Do you think this will top COD sales because COD's on Game Pass? Well, you said sales, and then you invoked Game Pass, which that's not the people on Game Pass. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. Are you saying, did COD have enough of a diminishment of sales being on Game Pass that this could surpass it? I don't think so. I don't think this could rival COD sales. Coming soon in August, those of you that were like me and pretty disappointed in this, Revenge of the Savage Planet is getting photo mode, habitat customization, and a performance mode coming soon in August. So hoping that performance mode ends up being very good, because that game was going to be like the perfect game for Madam and I to play, and it just ran at this crazy, like the lighting feels like it's absolutely cranked to 10, and it's a 30 FPS game. Very disappointing that they did that. So Last COD hit 50 million players. He's talking sales though, Chris, not player count. So what he's asking is, by putting the last Call of Duty on Game Pass, and we know the upcoming Call of Duty will be on Game Pass, that affords 20-something million people the opportunity to not buy the game, right? So he's asking, could that allow Battlefield to actually get more sales? I just don't think so, because I think there are so many people that just automatically buy Call of Duty. 48% of Call of Duty's annual sales come from PlayStation anyway, so the hit that they took on purchases on Xbox was probably noticeable, but I don't know if it was enough to give Battlefield room to sell more. I also don't think Battlefield will be able to get those many players, because again, you've got people on Game Pass that can just boot up and play for an afternoon and be like, yeah, I'm still not a big fan of Call of Duty, but then they count as a player because it didn't cost them any money, but they were able just to boot up and play on Game Pass. Mash says, how many sales really? Maybe at most 1 to 2 million. Xbox player base isn't that big, and isn't the common message that they buy less on average anyway? Yeah, I don't know the number of people, though, Mash. You got to think, out of the roughly 30 million Game Pass subscribers, roughly 20 million of them have day and date and did not have to buy Call of Duty. That's a lot of freaking people, brother. I don't know. To be like, oh, they only lost like 1 to 2 million sales. Dude, Xbox's history with Call of Duty is pretty big. I mean, there's got to still be annually way more than like 1 to 2 million people buying Call of Duty on Xbox. There's got to be more than 1 to 2 million. And throwing it on Game Pass ensures that all those people are like, well, I don't have to buy it now. I don't know. I don't think that Battlefield can outsell Call of Duty. I mean, I'll say yet. I'll tack on a yet to this, because there's always the possibility that this Battlefield really kind of puts them back on the map, as it were, and gives them an opportunity to, be in a much more dominant position with sales than in the past. You're forgetting Game Pass is also PC. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's 20 million people that don't have to buy Call of Duty, and a lot of them have like PC Game Pass. This is true. The roughly 30 million Game Pass subscribers, about 9 million of them are on Game Pass Core, which isn't day and date. So, roughly, I've always just estimated there's roughly 20 million people who don't have to buy games day and date on the Xbox ecosystem, which, if you think about the fact that there's only like 30 million of their Xbox Series X and S consoles in circulation, 20 million of their users don't have to buy games when they come out if they're day and date on Xbox, on Game Pass, I'm sorry. So that's a lot of potential lost sales. Guys, earlier I was like, hey man, we need the like count to go up, and like 8 people did it. Double check that it's saving your likes. It is a severe help to the video and channel when we've got like somewhere between 400 and 500 people watching, and the like count is close to the viewership. So take a quick second and double check that it saved your likes. I just did it myself, and I'm going to reopen the tab and make sure that it saved it. YouTube has been known to not save your likes. Matt says, how many people bought COD on PlayStation, and that platform is 3 times the size of Xbox? So fair to say whatever sales on PC divide by 4 to 5? I don't know if we can get an exact number, Mash. The question that put us on this pathway was, because it's on Game Pass, could Battlefield get more sales? I don't think so. On principle, I agree with you. I don't think there's enough people who were able to like skip out and not buy. I don't think there's enough of them to say, I don't know why it keeps doing this on the points. I can't give you guys an accurate count on sub points. Yeah, now it says we have 1 sub point. What is going on? Did we just roll over into a new month or something? It's so glitched. I can't figure out how to get into the Plus program with like payouts on purple. I don't understand. It resets on the 15th? Yeah, it's not the 15th. I know it's August 1st, but it's saying we have like no sub points. I don't know if we've ever gotten enough sub points. I don't even know where I'm supposed to check that. Like, where do you check your sub points? It's always told me I have 50, and then I set the goal, and then it says we have 100. Okay, so right now it says we have 1,079 sub points. How many do I need to get to that thing that they talk about? Oh, tier 3 subs are a 70-30 split. Everything else is 60-40. It's telling me I'm on a 60-40, so what does that mean? I don't understand any of this. I've not been on the platform since April. I've been on the platform since April, and I still don't understand that. Like, they're like, hey, set a goal, and then you'll get better payout. And I'm like, but yeah, I don't understand the goal. You need 303 months? Oh, I think we've gotten it every time then. It's acting like whenever I set the goal, we're not getting it or something. It's weird. Anyway, I don't like to focus on it, which is why I haven't really done much with it. We hit the weekly goal and we do the fun streams, and that's pretty much how we handle it. Not sure how accurate it is, but according to GameRant, Game Pass is at 38 million as of June. I don't think it jumped almost 10 million and nobody, like, that would have been reported. How many Game Pass subs are there? AI is estimating 35. Reddit saying 35. 2024, it had a total of 34. 11 million were Xbox Live users that got rebranded. At the time, they had like 23 million, this is saying. So 23 plus the 11 that got turned into Xbox Game Pass Core. So if they're at 35 million, you still have to... we don't know how many converted. Twitch is cooked. Twitch isn't cooked. What do you mean? They're winning today. 62-13. If they jumped all the way to 38 million, I feel like they would have been boasting about that somewhere. Like, they'd have been like, we're almost to 40 million. Maybe they're waiting until they hit 40 million. I don't know. They were in the mid-20s, 20 millions. They added 11 million people because they converted all of the Xbox Live folks into Game Pass Core, which is like, they basically just made a new tier, is what they did. And so that, all of a sudden, you had this, like, influx of 10 to 11 million people on the total. You can't really outsell Black Ops 6. That's not possible, I think, for nearly any game. Maybe GTA 6 can sell more, but nothing else. Black Ops 6 wasn't just successful. It's like the most successful COD game. Yeah, I don't think you could beat COD in sales. I just don't think so. Even with Game Pass. Even with Game Pass, having less people buying on the ecosystems where it lives. Nintendo Switch consoles are having a price increase at Target. The Switch 1? What? They're raising the price of the OLED, non-OLED, and the Switch Lite? Oh, the tariffs. The tariffs. I was like, what the frick is going on? That's insane. I forgot about the tariffs. I think we all forgot about the tariffs. How does COD answer back from what they saw yesterday? That showcase was incredible. Yeah, that's a really good question because I don't think the answer would be to try to mimic Battlefield. I don't think that's the answer, right? Where, you know, you do like a bunch of vehicles or you do something with, you know, big battles and things like that and make it like, you know, I don't think mimicking Battlefield is the right call. I think that would be a mistake. Right? Kind of like how I said, like, Battlefield doesn't want to be the antithesis to Call of Duty. Like, just be a really, really good Battlefield. Right? I don't think Call of Duty should do that either. Like, oh, well, let's try to be doing what Battlefield's doing. Because I think that's what people might say. Oh, do vehicles, do this and do that. I will say this. I don't know how you do this because so many people have spent so much money on cosmetics, but like a return to like the gritty, grounded feel would be helpful. No more Beavis and Butthead. No more Nicki Minaj. That ship might have sailed. This is the old gifted count now. Streamers in the Partner Plus program will receive 70/30 revenue on subscription revenue for 12 months. To qualify, partners must maintain a subcount of at least 350 recurring paid subscriptions for 3 consecutive months. Once that happens, partners will automatically be enrolled in the next 12 months. Okay. So I would need to know. I don't know how many we have that actually are. Where that breakdown should be here, right? It said here, you did it. You are receiving level 1 active. You are receiving the 60/40 revenue on all recurring monthly subscriptions and gifted subscriptions until August 1st of next year. It says I did it. July, June, and May. So July secured it. I didn't even check this until just now. Because July just ended. We did it. Because for level 1, you need over 100, it looks like. We don't have 350. We have like 100, roughly 100. They're called plus points. So, okay. Which, that's a huge achievement. What we benefit then from then is the next year. Anytime you guys gift, you're supporting me more. So from this time until August of next year, your support goes farther on Purple than it did previously. YouTube 70/30, Twitch 60/40. I think that's great. That's a wonderful achievement that we just got back on April. That's freaking huge. Especially you double dippers. Like, I know a lot of you are double dipping. A lot of you are still supporting on YouTube. Like, only roughly 140 people are actually like paying for subs on Purple. The rest are gifted or primes. So that's huge. Yeah, locked in for a year. That's great. The next one is 300. That 70/30, I would need 300 people paying 3 months in a row. That's how it works. It was 50/50, Zoob. So the way Purple works is it's 50/50. If 3 months in a row you have over 100 people paying for subs, you get into level 1, which is 60/40. If for 3 months in a row I get 300 people paying for their own subs, I would lock in the next bump up, which is tier 2, which would be 70/30. So if we can get roughly 200 more, 150 more people to pay for their own subs on Purple, and we do that 3 months in a row, it would bump us up to the next bracket. Gifted count now too? I don't think so, because with gifted we're over 1,000 wired rope, and it's not giving you guys credit for those. Like, I get the better split on gifted, you're correct, but they don't count towards unlocking the next tier. Do Prime subs count? This says paid membership, so I don't think Primes count. Yeah. It specifically states that you need recurring paid subscriptions. Yeah. So the primes still support me, and because we've unlocked that tier, I get a better split, but the primes I don't think count. Give it a couple days. What I sent is 2 years old. No, the back end literally says I did it, homie. But the tier 2 is not unlocked. It says we unlocked tier 1. I'm sorry, level 1. We're at level 1. Level 2 is the next jump up. So you guys unlock 60/40. 70/30 is the next level, which is level 2. I believe you need 300 for that. Because when I go to manage goals on purple, it says for level 2, you need 300 points. And we got to 100. We did the thing for level 1. Level 2 is 300. Yeah. So we unlocked level 1. Next goal is to unlock level 2, which I don't know if I can show that goal. That should just be the only thing that we should be really focusing on going forward, is the next 3 months pushing that, along with, obviously, with gifteds. They help you more in the long run. In the long run, it would help me more if all those primes were paid, yes, because we would then have more people generating points toward that level, right? I wish I could just put it on the screen and just show you guys, but like, we basically have an equal number of paid subs to prime subs. If their powers combined, we'd be really, really close to the 300 number. We would. So we'll get there. I mean, we've only been here for 4 months. Like, in 4 months' time, that's an amazing achievement, y'all. Like, that's an amazing achievement. Like, what I'm saying is, we crested over the first mountain, and it only took us 4 months. That's fantastic. We could have easily come back to this platform and did virtually nothing, because people are like, I don't know who you are. What? Like, it had been almost 5 years, brothers. You know? Yeah, and the name change hurt us. They did. They said the name change hurts you when you do it. And it's like, I would have debated doing it, you know, because it was a bit of a setback. But I think in the long term, it's good to have the same name on all platforms. Whether you're trying to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch. Same username everywhere. There's a lot of power in that. So we made the right call. A little bit of a stinger in the meantime, you know, but worth it. And you guys are making up for it because you show up, you're super loyal, you throw your primes, you throw gifteds. That, you know, that makes a lot of a difference. Yeah. Nothing wrong being second or even third most popular shooter, says Mash. There's easily enough room. If Halo had amazing new titles and climbed to the third spot. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with being in second or third. Rebrand was epic, though. I feel like you're better off for it. Oh, no. You're misunderstanding. So when we got back on Purple, we rebranded everything to Reforge Gaming, but our username was Reforge Gaming TV, and I didn't like it. Somebody had the username Reforge Gaming, and the account was dormant. There was nothing going on with it. And once we got partner, I just emailed tech support, and I said, hey, we would really like that username. And they just did it. They just did it for me. It was so awesome. It hurt turnout. Our turnout from followers got like cut in half, and I reached out to them, and they said that's normal. Yeah, they said it's normal if you change your name. So, yeah, because if you go to Reforge Gaming TV, instead of it saying, I think what it should do for about a month is say, oh, this channel recently changed names, and then they give you a link to the new channel. Like, I think they should do that for like a month. They don't do that. It looks like you've been banned again. Which is really counterproductive when you're me. That's really counterproductive. Hey, we got partnered. Yay! And then like a day later, a week later, all of a sudden people go to the old URL and they're like, oh, the channel's gone. Yeah. I think it should pop up and say, this is no longer the name of this channel. Here's the new channel. Here's the new name. And it should just provide you a link. You know. Welcome to the bandwagon. Right. Anyways, we don't need to talk any more housekeeping. We do need to talk about those likes, YouTube. Get us to 300 likes. We do need to talk about the fact that you're letting Twitch win. What's this? What are the flavors of your coffee? We have a medium roast, a light roast, and a dark roast. We have tear and reseal bags that are very nice. They sit really nice on your counter, right? It's not like some of those bags that'll like tip over because they're kind of narrow. It's got all the stats in the back. You can go to reforgeroast.com. One of the best things to do right now is to get the I don't know what I just did. Add and compare. Hang on. Get the triple threat. You get all three for $49, right? $49. You get all three. You get the Frickmas, the dark roast, the light roast, and all of the coffee features balanced acidity or low acidity, which makes them very, very drinkable. Almost no bitterness, very smooth. Non-coffee drinkers should just try the light roast. Get yourself a little Italian sweet cream, and you're good to go. Get yourself a little Italian sweet cream, and you're ready to rock and roll. You might actually start drinking coffee. My light roast is like a good introductory coffee to non-coffee drinkers. Organic. It's not synthetic. It's coffee beans. So I don't know of any. Yeah, they're organic. I don't know what else they would be. Where's the snacks? Oh, I don't sell snacks. Yeah. Selling food gets into different territory with like ingredients and all of that, FDA and regulations and stuff. Organic growth. We go through a roaster that uses responsibly sourced multi-origin beans that are organic. You can eat the coffee if you want, but be aware it doesn't melt. It doesn't melt. This is true. Somebody that had only ever made instant coffee before. Okay, never mind. What do you mean never mind? I answered you. Protein bars? Well, we are partnered with Control, but those are like meal replacement bars. They have right now. Control just has the peanut butter s'more bars. So these are meal replacement bars. You can use my code Lono over at Control. You can use the Control command in chat. We are partnered with them. This is the one back here in the green that I liked the most. It's like a Lucky Charms one. Their main thing are the meal replacement shakes, which currently I have Cinnamon Toast and Paradise Potion in my house. This is like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. This is sort of like a pina colada. I can't do chocolate, so I've not tried cookies and cream. I imagine it's great. I have yet to try the strawberry. I have a sample of the strawberry in my house. My least favorite was Apple Smacks. Wasn't a big fan of it, but you might like it. So yeah. If you have a habit of ordering from them, they're somebody that we partner with. Some accounts only exist to be contrarian, never adding anything else. Yeah, like, I get the same instinct, Eugene. You electric to chocolate? Yeah. It, I don't know what happens. Like, electricity just, like, courses through my body when I eat it, and it's really painful. Allergic? No. I knew what you meant. No, I'm not allergic. I'm like, I guess you would call it a sensitivity. Like, it's like a weird sensitivity. So, I eat it, and then like a day or two later, I have a really painful, like, under the skin boil, like a blemish on my face somewhere. It's really, really unpleasant. And it only happens when I have chocolate. I don't know. I also, apples. I guess this is a thing that some people deal with. Apples upset my stomach, and I actually really like them, and it's very annoying. They're like, apples and peanut butter is like such a great get you through the day snack, you know? They irritate my stomach. I don't know. Now, I've been on probiotics for a while, so maybe I've like fixed the flora in my stomach. So maybe I could take another crack at it. But like Madam would bring me lunch, and I'd be fine. One day, she'd bring down like an apple sliced up with my lunch. I'd eat it, and like an hour later, I'd be like, oh gosh. I'm like, what the heck's going on? She looked it up. Apparently, there's something in apples that some people have a weird sensitivity to, like an intolerance to them. It's not an allergy, but yeah. It's a bummer because they're good. Yeah. Not fun. It's the cyanide. Yeah. It's the cyanide they've been injected with. Madam trying to slowly kill me, you know? Is the fiber? No. When she looked it up, it's something in there's something about the sugars or something. There's some kind of natural sugars occurring in apples that people can have a sensitivity to. I think that's what it was. I can't remember now. So, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, man, go ahead and do that. Try and get us to 300 likes. She's trying to get that life insurance going. It seems like it. It really does seem that way. Do you have creamer, if so liquid or powder? We don't sell creamer. I use Italian sweet cream. I think it's like, if you get the light roast or the dark roast from us, and you use Italian sweet cream with it, it's like a match made in heaven. My wife doesn't even like Italian sweet cream, and she's tried it before with the dark roast because like she'll be out of her creamer or her oat milk that she froths or whatever the frick she does. And even she has said Italian sweet cream with the dark roast is like a perfect match. Italian sweet cream gross, French vanilla, you uncultured boob. It's good. It tastes good. Sorry. Sorbitol? Is that what it is? She'll have better luck putting into your steaks. I have not gotten a steak all year. I don't think. We didn't even do one for Father's Day. We usually do one for Father's Day, but we didn't. Apples can cause upset stomach due to high fructose content, fiber, potential allergies or sensitivities to the fruit, pesticides used on them. Acidity. It could be the natural acidic nature of them or something. Yeah. People are saying it's highly unlikely coming from pesticide residues because we would wash the heck out of them. No steak. No steak all year is wild work. It's expensive. We go to a butcher and it's really expensive. I don't even buy the ground beef anymore and make patties. It just got too expensive. We got to a place where I said we've got to be a little bit more frugal than we were, you know. Things just didn't go where we needed them to go. So I was like, well, that's an easy thing to cut because it's expensive, you know. If freaking one ribeye is like the cost of like, I don't even know how many boxes of the frozen burgers you could get for the cost of like a single ribeye. Foggy says, you guys have gifted me memberships for what feels like almost a year. I work during the day, so I can't watch Appreciate It chat. What took the place? Ramen? No, just like normal things that Madam makes. You know, we have tacos a lot because ground beef's cheap. Chicken is cheap. Comparatively, it's cheaper. Yeah. And I just don't see the point in buying a ribeye from the grocery store. It's like at that point, the quality is so inconsistent. It's like, what? It feels like a waste of money. So, yep. I wasn't going to like come to you guys and do like a GoFundMe for my, my monthly butcher meat purchases. I was just like, we'll just trim up. We'll just spend a little less in certain areas. You know what I mean? Canceled some subscriptions and stuff. It's just what you got to do. Can't complain when there's tacos. You still want to get your red meat from different categories? I mean, I don't think my diet's your concern, but okay. It's called adulting. Yeah, it's just something you do. Thank you, Wilbur. I got it. We walked into this year and we really thought, here we go. And YouTube had other plans. They completely worked against us for the last 7 months, and we had no clue. Our entire business structure that we built, they were just quietly working against us, and we had no idea. And then we come out of showcase season, and I'm like, something is wrong, and we figured it out, and we fixed it. But yeah, that's not a great feeling. You know what I mean? You hit a big milestone, you're like, all right, all the hard work's gonna pay off. And YouTube's like, what if we quietly sabotaged all of that? What happened with the tubes? They were basically showing our members-only content to people like everywhere on the platform. I had green rooms with like 7,000 impressions. We had one in particular, like they were showing one of my green rooms on like an Astrocross video, like as a suggested video. That's so dumb. It's like thick skull mind-numbingly dumb. Like, I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why they think it's a good idea, but they're doing it. And so what would happen is we would get a lot of new subscribers, and then they would start getting members content on their homepage. So if you guys remember, for like 7 months, we would do morning coffee, live show, green room. So we were doing 2 pieces of members content every day and like 1 public live stream. And then every other day, a couple of times a week, we would do an upload. So sometimes like an even amount. Normally though, we were doing more members content than not. So what would happen is new subscribers or people familiar with my content or, had seen me maybe, and there'd be a reason to recommend my content to them, like on an Astrocross video or something. We're seeing the same thumbnail every day. Morning coffee, green room, morning coffee, green room, morning coffee, green room. It's just a static thumbnail that we use because our members understand what that is. Well, that's incredibly counterproductive when you have people that don't know what it is and they're like, well, I subscribe to this guy and now I'm just keep getting videos with the same thumbnail and I can't watch them because if you're not a member, you click on it and you can't see anything. YouTube just went too far. If you guys remember, there was a time where you guys couldn't find the members-only content. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember when you couldn't find it? You're like, I couldn't find today's member stream. And it was really frustrating because we were trying to foster and grow a membership base. And there were people that were like, I can't find your members-only videos, right? Well, YouTube started putting that members-only content in front of you, which is great. You're paying for it after all. They went a little too far and they said, well, let's start showing members content to non-members, in the hopes that maybe they convert and become a member. Well, that's not going to happen. Imagine all the years you spent on YouTube. Have you ever seen a thumbnail for something and been like, well, I have no idea what the content is, but I'm willing to pay $5 a month to find out. Like, that's the average. The average person's not going to do that. Like, I would say 95% of the time, your odds of converting on a thumbnail is really small, especially when we were just using a static thumbnail, right? You have the same thing happen with Kind of Funny videos. Right. They started actually showing like the members only content also. Like you go to the live tab. Like if you go to Kind of Funny's channel, let me just show you like what we fixed. This is why we had to fix this because it was like atrocious. It was so bad. Okay. I'm going to show you our live tab and then we're going to go to Kind of Funny's channel. And they don't have any control over this. So this is something they're completely at the mercy of YouTube for. Wait, did they change? No, okay. No, I clicked on the wrong tab. Okay. So, when you go to My Live tab, it's all of my live shows. Now, what it used to be is live show green room, live show green room, live show it was ugly. I mean, it was ugly. It looked terrible. If you were like, oh, I wonder what this guy's covering with his live content, it was atrocious. Now it's just all my live shows. You're like, oh, wow, this guy covers everything from Battlefield to Nintendo to Destiny to PlayStation. We've got a wide breadth of content here. Look at what Kind of Funny does. This is not their fault, but this is what ours looked like as well. Public members, public members, members. If I'm not a member to their channel, look how far I'm scrolling just to click on something that I can actually watch. Members. Oh, there's a video I can watch. Do you see? Now imagine all of these videos consistently hitting your homepage or your sub feed. How irritating would that be? Now, their live tab is not nearly as bad. I came to their live tab a while ago, and it was the exact same. I wonder if they realized the same thing, and they have now done what we have done, and they've just unlisted it all. I came to their live tab, and it looked exactly the same. It was just so much members' content. That's incredibly counterproductive. It's incredibly counterproductive. You should have a tab for all of the members-only content. And yes, if you are paying for the content, it should be hitting your sub feed. It should be hitting your homepage. It makes literally no sense. Like, and this is something that's very frustrating with YouTube. It's like, talk to me for 60 minutes and I'll take you to school on this stuff. It's like, you guys don't understand so much of what you're doing. You don't understand advertisements in the live environment. You don't understand members-only content, paid-for content. You're disrupting things that are... They're pedestrian. They're easy. It's like if somebody's going to come to a channel, their sub feed or their homepage, it should be content that they can watch, not content that they can't watch. Now, if you want to put below a video or a live stream and say, hey, this video had a follow-up live discussion, like you could do, like give me the power as a YouTuber to attach relevant members-only content. So you could be watching a video of me talking about PlayStation and you could be like, hey, there's a relevant piece of members-only discussion that followed this video. Would you like to become a member and watch it? You might get people to do that. They're like, well, I just watched this guy's video on PlayStation. Let's say the video gets like 7,000 to 10,000 views. That's 7,000 to 10,000 people who might say, yeah, I'll become a member. I'll check out that discussion. And you're doing that with every upload. You're doing that with every live stream, right? You have like a relevant piece of members only content attached to it that could then coax somebody to say, well, I really enjoyed this guy's take, or I really disagreed with this guy's take. I'm going to go watch the members only discussion that's attached to this video. Do you see what I'm saying? In 60 seconds, I just outlined a better system. Why? Because I live in this system. This is where I live. This is where I exist. I eat, breathe, drink, and sleep this system. And from the outside looking in, you're like, well, YouTubers would like to try to get people to convert to their members-only content. So let's show that content to people. And then they might convert. No, they probably won't. They'll get annoyed. They'll unsub. We were having consistent sub loss because of it. People would subscribe for a showcase. And then in the weeks that would follow, I'm just blitzing their feed with morning coffee, green room, morning coffee, green room. They're like, what the frick is this guy doing? Why is he making this video every day? And I can't watch it. Now, the video I spend an entire day working on and Creature spends an entire day editing. Well, we won't show you that, but we'll show you the green room. So we basically spent 7 months getting the crap beat out of us quietly, and we had no idea why. We were like, what is going on? We couldn't figure it out. And we finally did. So, yeah. That's all that to say, that's why I'm not buying steak right now. It's YouTube's fault. No, but seriously, hopefully we've made changes, and this entire week has been a turnaround. This entire week has been a turnaround time. Why? Because I'm not blasting someone in the face with morning coffee and green room who happens to be a new sub, recent sub, or even a long-standing sub. They're getting uploads and live shows that are relevant to gaming news going on right now. But Lono, your content gets related from recent content you posted, so if the impressions are coming in from the members' content, then viewers already know of it, probably have the right idea about it. No, homie, you don't understand what you're saying. So I'm going to show you, okay? There's 515 people, roughly, that can watch Green Room, okay? There are people that member Plus and above. Roughly 500 people can watch the Green Room. I would have green rooms with 7,000 impressions. That means they showed the Green Room to 7,000 people. Why? You could have shown my PlayStation upload or my PlayStation discussion or my what was it? Phantom. No. Phantom Blade Zero? Phantom Blade Zero. I wanted to say Stellar Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero. Show that to 7,000 people. We saw a marked drop in suggests on public content and a marked increase in suggests on members' content. It's broken. Yeah, it's so backwards. Yeah. So these are the two things they need to do. Give me power over it, because I love the idea of, hey, you're now a member. Here's this segment you get access to. I think that's great. I think that's exactly the right thing to do. Give me control over it. Secondly, don't show something to somebody on a platform about click rate and watch time that they can't watch. It's that simple. It hurts. It hurt me professionally. It hurt the channel, right? It damaged us, and we didn't know where it was coming from. But it hurts my brain that somebody thought this was a good idea. You got to question that. You just got to question, like, what's going on here? It's a platform that runs on click rate and watch time, and you thought it was a good idea to show thousands of people content that they cannot watch. Every word that comes to mind is mean. Is just unkind and angry. So I just put it before you and say, oh wow. Like, so yeah. Things are better, things are improving, and we now have a solution in place, and you guys that are members are still getting members content, and we've just had to adjust. Yeah. I also think they should show you members-only content if you're a gifted member differently. It should say something like members only, and then right below that it should say something like you have access. Like, you've been gifted access to this or something. Because somebody might not know. You could literally be gifted a membership here and be clueless as to why Green Room, or, well, not Green Room. You could be clueless as to why something like Morning Coffee or a Friday Night with Madam, you could be like, why is this hitting my homepage? What the frick is this? It should literally say, like, members only, access granted. And you'd be like, what? Huh? And you click it and you're like, oh, this guy's hanging out with his wife. Oh, this is members only content. Oh, I've been gifted a member. Oh, I have a badge. Oh, I have emotes. Like, come on, YouTube. Come on. It's so brain dead that it's something that you never would think to keep an eye on, and it went unnoticed for months. Yeah. We never thought to check on this because it's so backwards that it's like when we finally realized what was happening, it was almost like a you gotta be kidding me kind of a moment. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I want to get to work faster, so I've been letting the air out of my tires every morning. You'd be like, what did you say? Like, it's so dumb that you almost are in disbelief when you realize it's been happening. You're like, I'm what? That seems so counterproductive. So, yeah. We structured the brand and the channel around having public content and members content. And YouTube, in an effort to help, did the sort of I will pet him and squeeze him and call him George thing, where they like lovingly squeeze the stuffing out of us. How's the music channel going? Will it make it on time? Creature showed me a sample last night of what the videos are going to look like. We should be ready to go today. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Saw something retweeted, Nintendo Switch prices. Yes. Yes, it looks like the first album is currently being uploaded. Like the very, very... Oh, you'll be happy to hear this, Haseo. Two Sides is literally being uploaded right now. Your favorite song is being uploaded right now. So, yes. Yes. So we will probably celebrate tonight with that. That's a great reason to be around tonight. Do you have a link for the new channel? No. Not yet. Nothing is available yet. Okay. I need a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep just kind of yapping. We're just kind of hanging out. Make sure and hit the like button. We're just kind of chilling. We'll probably end up in green room, and I'll probably just play some games with you guys or something. All right? I'll be back in just a second. Sorry, I was moving my PlayStation. I realized I hadn't moved it. Excuse me. Gonna be on your own after thumbs. Okay, no, you're fine, creature. You do the thumbs, I'll do the descriptions. Yeah. Are you a fan of DK Bonanza? It's in the low 90s in terms of quality, better than Mario Kart, Game of the Year contender. It'll be a Game of the Year nominated game. I don't think it will be able to beat Expedition 33 or Death Stranding 2. So, but I like it. I actually think Donkey Kong Bonanza is better played as a single-player game. Wait, Shinobi, wait, the demo actually dropped? People said yesterday they couldn't find it. Maybe we could play that. I was just going to, play some games in Green Room with you guys. I wanted to try Shadow Labyrinth to see if it really is as bad as everybody says. I'm so disappointed. It just dropped? Okay. I thought the freaking Shadow Labyrinth game looked so good. I was a little underwhelmed with DK after the hype it got. I'm hearing that the second half of the game, it really cranks it up, Sven. I've been hearing that. Because the thing that Madam and I ran into was it just really felt like nothing was really changing level to level, and I think a lot of that was because she was literally just like a 50 cal machine gun on my shoulder. And it just trivialized a lot of the gameplay that's supposed to be about exploring and grabbing and platforming and everything else. And it just isn't if she's sitting there just on my shoulder. Okay, Shinobi Art of Vengeance demo. Download the demo. Now there was a second demo. How is that possible? That was weird. It had two demos listed in the little pop-out menu. So we've got Shinobi Art of Vengeance. We've got First Berserker Kazan. We've definitely got some stuff that we could play with this afternoon. I had a hankering for some Returnal, but I'll keep playing that with Madam instead. Genuinely, the second half of it made it my game of the year. You gonna check out Echoes of the End? Yes. Wait, wasn't there something new with Echoes of the End, Cobra? I thought somebody said there was something new with that. They do change it up from just bashing things after a few layers down. But play past a few hours is really not just a meme here. Yeah, there was a gameplay drop yesterday. Oh, that's right. That's right. Thank you. Somebody said that they felt like it looked better because the trailer, that first outing looked really rough. Okay, hang on. Echoes of the End. A day ago. Combat Update Showcase. All right, let's take a look at this. Because I was very, very turned off by what I saw. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. But they're chopping it up. They're hang on. See, this makes me more concerned. They're seemingly well aware of what I was pointing out. It's the movement. It's her moving from target to target that feels very rigid and stiff, and they're cutting all of that out from these clips. Okay, her pivoting once they're targeted does look a little bit better, but this just screams, we heard your feedback and we removed all that stuff from the trailer so that people won't fixate on it. Like, they've removed all of the things that I was taking issue with. Her moving from target to target and her movement in general just felt very rigid and on like access points. Yeah, sorry. That actually doesn't make me feel any better. It does. It very much has, like what Zubair is saying, like gliding around. She's moving very rigidly on access points, like in a mobile game, like she's moving on a grid. And they removed everything that was giving me concern, because if you go and you look at the original trailer, all of the things that was giving me concern have been removed. It's like, yeah, it looks better because you removed all the stuff that looked bad. Now, the good news is, I mean, I guess we could say this is potential good news. The potential good news is they're listening to feedback, and maybe that could lead them to make better improvements in the game itself. Like, they're clearly aware that what people were seeing didn't look that great because they removed every piece of that from the latest edit. That could be a form of damage control, but it could also be a form of internalizing feedback, and maybe they make some good adjustments. I don't know. Edited like a Bourne movie. Yeah, it reminds me of some of the edits in the Mind's Eye stuff, where like the edits just don't make any sense. Why are people calling Joker a clout chaser? If by clout chaser you mean guy who has been literally right about everything since day one, then sure, I'll be accepting apologies in the comments, but I won't hold my breath. What's this clip from him? What's he saying?
Say it.
Fuck you.
After you say it.
You're really going to force me on this?
Oh gosh, never mind. I thought, sorry everybody. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a Joker clip of him like proving himself right, not just like dropping an F-bomb. Just a random F-bomb out of nowhere. Safe for work. Out the window. Thanks, Joker. You frick. I'm just kidding. I don't have any issue with Joker. Oh my gosh. Oh, hang on. I got a DM here. What are you saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our one F-bomb of the month. That's right. I'm not telling people how to live, but the best way to live is with wireless earbuds with transparency modes. That's right. That's from Hellsing Bridge. Great sound clip to use for that. Yeah. Yeah. He's yeah. Frick my life. Sorry. Write-ups all around. Everyone who works in an office setting is like getting an email right now. It'll be like one of those generic corporate emails that's like for everybody. As a reminder, If you're going to be listening to content in the office, please ensure that it abstains from profanity. This ensures that the workspace environments can be safe and everybody's feel proof. Thank you. And you're like, frick, I know that's about me. I know that's about me, dude. That was me. Lono freaking played a clip of some lady going, F you, out of nowhere, dude. And it was loud and it like pierced the silence of the office. You know? Oh my gosh. The only thing at work blocked is Twitter. Please don't change that. I will do my best. I will do my best. I'm going to be writing myself an email. Yes, quickly. HR, get it going. All right, try to get us to 300 likes real quickly. We're gonna bail out of here. This is a great reason for you to upgrade your member tier. All right? It's a great reason for you to upgrade your member tier. You can come with us to the green room. This is for paying members. If you got a gifted member, guess what you get to do, though? You get to watch me play a VR game tonight with Madam. She'll be on a cell phone. I'll have the headset on. It'll likely be hilarious. You don't want to miss that. Also, you guys unlock Saturday. I'm going to be starting earlier, around din time, right? I'm going to be hanging out with y'all. We're going to be having drinks, laughs, games, Mario Kart community game night. Who knows what else the frick we're going to get into. It's going to be a long stream. Madam will join me later on Saturday, so be here for that. That's for all members, gifted and paying. But right now, we are going to a members only, like a member plus or above stream called the Green Room, okay? You use the question command. I am sorry I did not do anything with questions today. You said, what are your thoughts on Nintendo Direct and all the games on keycard? I don't really care about the keycard thing that much. I know people are like super passionate about it, and I thought that the Nintendo Direct showed pretty clearly, rather clearly, that Nintendo has built a platform that people really want to be on, and that's something that I kind of predicted would happen. I was like, I think everybody's going to want to be on here. Also, Twitch has handedly won. They are 49 members in the lead right now. That's impressive work, Twitch. Very good work. Sorry, YouTube. You gave it to them today, so congrats to them. Kino Man Sky asked about Battlefield console. Yeah, I kind of talked about that earlier today. Let me clear the... what the heck is going on? Got it. Leave me alone, spreadsheet. There we go. Good for Twitch. That's what, one out of the last 90 days. Yeah. Yeah, they managed to pull it off today. So what we're going to be doing is going to Green Room, and we're going to be playing... I'm going to check out the Shinobi demo. I'll probably play some Kazan with you guys. Maybe we check out Shadow Labyrinth. Winged Wheel says, not on my watch. We're going to make a last-ditch effort before we go to Green Room. And it's now 18-62. Well fought. Well fought, Winged. Twitch needs the win. If Twitch was Xbox, they would be claiming that YouTube is dead and Twitch is the future. How far are you in Kazan? It says that I'm 4 hours in and I'm 9% through. Yeah. I am playing it on beginner as well. It's so fun on beginner. It just feels like a very parry-focused action game. It doesn't feel like a super punishing Souls game. It's just super fun. It has a lot of cutscenes that weren't in originally. Really? JC says they only lost by 250 members yesterday. This is true. They do think that. You're joking. They really think that. It's true. They do. Could we get 2 more likes? I'm kind of holding out to go to Green Room until we get 300 likes. Come on, y'all. What are we doing here? Are you guys really going to hold me hostage and not give me my 300 likes? I guess we'll just spend the rest of the day here. You know, ruin my day. Oh, the music channel will be tonight during the member stream. You know what I might do? I might end the Twitch stream a little early today and keep hanging out in green room, and I don't know, maybe we'll give some people a sneak peek at like the artwork or something, you know, the people paying for those member pluses and above. Now I know some of you moved your support to Twitch, but a ton of people go over there and watch for free, so you got to give me a little leeway here. Everybody's going to be able to see the channel tonight, don't worry. All the members will see it tonight. including Twitch. So, there it is. 301 likes. All right, let's get the frick out of here before YouTube tries to win. Okay. Almost says, heck yeah. F Twitch. Stop it. Nope. No. That's the wrong thing. This is what I need. Okay. I'd give up the barbershop first before the steak. You'll look the part, eating the steak like a caveman. Can we uninvite Twitch? We cannot uninvite Twitch to the green room because the problem is, just before we switch, just so you guys understand, a lot of people have switched their support to Twitch. Now, I know a lot of you go over to Twitch and you watch the green room there because it's free and you don't have to pay. I'm never going to convince you to do anything different than that. I've just continued to tell folks, hey man, if you like what we do here, $6 a month supports me directly, and it opens up a lot of doors for us. If we were sitting on 1,000 paid members on YouTube right now, we would not have to, orbit so much of what we do around like member incentives and weekend this and da-da-da-da. Like when you have a base of people that are supporting you directly, it really, really frees up what we do. We are heavily dependent on gifteds, so take that for what it's worth. A big goal for us as far as like just stability and freedom is 1,000 people on YouTube paying for their own membership. We've barely been able to get out of the 500s. I know it's a cultural difference. I get it. I totally understand. But that's something we've been pushing towards. And people supporting on Purple have been a huge support with your primes, your gifts, and your subs. We are very reliant on gifteds right now. I would like to spend the next couple of years shifting that ratio so that we're not so reliant on people gifting, because their generosity is greatly appreciated, but having a community that directly supports what you do, as many people have very successfully done on Patreon, is kind of like what we're going for. It's very difficult because it's very antithetical to the culture of YouTube. So you can help us with that. Let people know that you feel like it's worth it. Talk about how the content's great and the green rooms are great, right? Let people know. You guys do. You enjoy the content, so you can always let people know in those environments, okay? All right, I'm going to spam a link. You guys on YouTube can use that link. Hang on, I got to set up redirect. I don't think I set it up just yet. And redirects have been a little bit smoother lately, so hopefully that's the case again today. Thoughts on what we've seen at Battlefield? Rewind the stream or look for the timestamp. It'll tell you what I think. There's a section of this stream where I have my thoughts very organized. There'll be a timestamp very soon. Go to, once I end the stream, go to like the 1 hour and 1 hour and 11 minute mark, I think is when I did it roughly, if that helps you. I just don't want to do it right now. I'm kind of ending. But you'll be able to go to the 1 hour and 11 minute mark. I think that's roughly when I started talking about it, okay? I typed up like a script and everything, so it'll be better than me giving you like a half effort right now. Thank you so much for being a paying supporter of this channel. If you are a Green Room member or a VIP member, we've got some exciting things coming. A Friday night stream where Madam and I play a VR game. I'll be on the headset. She'll be on the cell phone. It'll be hilarious. A Saturday stream has also been unlocked, so get your Mario Kart Worlds installed and updated. We'll be doing that. We'll be drinking, laughing. We'll be eating and just hanging out and playing games, which is what we're going to do in this green room. Also, you're not going to want to miss the Friday night stream. We're going to debut the first album on a channel that's going to have the first complete album from my music efforts with me writing the lyrics and using AI to make the music. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with Redirect, and then I will need to change that thumbnail because we are no longer